Hello everyone, if you're new to my channel, consider liking and subscribing. It will make me feel wonderful if you do that. Thanks. By the way, I also have another Naruto and Luffy fanfiction channel. If you are interested, link is in the description.
The Straw Hat's Red Devil, Sky Island Saga, Number 3, by DeadGirlEtarnal. She's the daughter of red-haired Shanks. She was dropped off to live with Luffy. She met Ace and Sabo, but when Sabo died, it was the last for her, as she vows to take revenge. Years later, she leaves the island and sets on adventures of her own. She soon meets up with her baby brother and travels with him, finding love in more than one place. Adios.
It's been a few hours since we set sail away from the Bharati. I hate leaving my baby brother to deal with Don Krieg and hopefully get Sanji to join our crew. We trail after Nami with the bounty hunters, who keep fussing over the injured swordsman lying on the floor of the tiny boat. Usopp keeps muttering as he imagines horrible things, like Luffy dying, looking back at the ship's rear. I frown, looking out for the Going Merry. Shut up. I order them, making them silent and stop moving. We need to keep heading in the direction Nami is going, and I can't concentrate with all your yammering about things like Luffy dying or Zoro dying when none of that is true. I look at them as they stay dead quiet and stand at the front of the boat. Eyes from hell. I open my eyes again, allowing the golden feline eyes to take over. I forward my eyesight around 20 times above natural human capacity to see the Going Merry with Nami aboard, heading for an island about 5 miles in front. Where's she heading? Usopp asks me, looking up at me with both curiosity and fear mixed in his eyes. I'm not too sure, but I recognize the building on the far side of the island. I answer him and close my eyes, deactivating my demon cat eyes and walk over to the little cabin to find a map. And it's nothing good, if I'm right. I leave them outside. See, I look around the tiny boat's cabin and find it a complete mess with clothes covering the floor, plates of food growing in mold, and some gross magazines, too. Pathetic, I mutter and proceed to look around, opening a few drawers to find a map of the East Blue. Just what I was looking for. A glint of metal catches my eye as I begin to exit the room. I stop and move a few pieces of clothing out of the way to find a pair of twin blades. They won't miss these. I take them, securing them around my waist, using the hoops from my trousers. See, I return to the others outside and roll the map on the floor before the boys, pointing to where Nami and us are heading. This is roughly where we are, and Nami is heading for this island, I explain, pointing to the island ahead of us. This is Konami Island, which from my previous sources say the Arlong pirates are residing at the moment. I look up to see the bounty hunters looking pale from shock at the mention of the Fishmen group and shaking terribly. Are you sure, big sis Dakota? Johnny stutters and looks at me with sweat running down his brow. I'm sure, I reply grimly. She's too close now to change direction, and you already said she was looking at Arlong's wanted poster, which gives me some ideas as to why she would be heading there, and none of them are good. I explain, looking up to see that Zoro is now awake from his little coma. So, we know where she's going? Zoro asks, looking over at us. The guys rejoice and crowd him, almost suffocating him as he struggles to escape their grasp. Yosaku, stop that. I warn him and pick him up by his coat, letting him hang in the air. As I do this, a black and gray striped shark suddenly jumps out of the water high and takes hold of Yosaku's bottom half and falls back into the water along with the screaming bounty hunter. Yosaku! Johnny shouts out at the shark, and his partner swims away. I'm sure he'll be fine, I assure him, but pay no mind as Johnny continues to shout after his long-lost partner, and I walk over to Zoro, checking his wound. He seems fine, so I smack the swordsman on the forehead, leaving a small red mark in the center. Ow! What was that for? Zoro demands, looking at me as I stare him down. You could have done anything but fight Uncle Haki, and you could have lived. You're now dead. I snap at him, glaring down at him. He looks at Johnny and Usopp, and then I smack Zoro on the head again, diverting his attention back to me. Ow! Stop doing that, he growls, but I ignore him and go to do it again, but he stops my hand from making contact with his forehead. Okay, you're not dead, but you could have been. I warn him and look into his eyes, seeing no regret, so I do what I do with my little brothers and smack him with my other hand in the head. Ow, I'm fine, and I had to do it. If it were your mother's killer, wouldn't you wish to face them regardless if you knew they could kill you easily? the swordsman asks, and I know he is right, and I stand up. That'll scar, and we're almost at the island Nami was heading, and Yosaku's been eaten by a shark. I state calmly, making him look up at me with wide eyes, along with the other two. Then I close my eyes, letting them turn a golden glow in the form of feline-like eyes again. Eyes from hell. I turn my head in the opposite direction, see the shark take him, scan for the missing bounty hunter, and see the Bharati still intact and quiet until the shark bait flies into the doors. He's fine. Somehow, he made it back to the Bharati. The boys give a sigh of relief, and Zoro sits up, leaning against the side with his one sword in hand. It looks so lonely. See, the island comes clearer in the distance as the small boat drifts forward. This is the island where Nami stopped, but I still have to wonder why she would go to an island where the Aurong pirates reside. I know my baby brother won't have anyone else as our navigator, so it's our job to get her back. We're finally here. Arlong Park. Johnny stutters in a panic at the front of the boat, cowering behind the side beside Zoro. I narrow my eyes at the sizable ugly building to the far left side of the island as I look down, seeing Zoro shift, glancing over his shoulder, and Usopp cowering behind the ship's side. This is it, the base of the fishman pirate, Arlong, who survived the Grand Line. Usopp gulps loudly with fear as we drift closer to the shore. Is Nami really in there? He mutters, looking fearfully at the building. Firstly, if Big Sis Nami is really here, then we should be able to find the Going Merry. So shall we check if it's really anchored at this island first? Johnny suggests, and I look down at him with a glare. Yeah, we should, he agrees with a stutter. Zoro slams his only remaining sword into the deck, lifting himself up and moving his sword as if getting ready to fight. Prepare to rush in, Zoro declares and flicks his hilt up, exposing the blade, slightly freaking out the two scaredy cats. I can't help but laugh at the idiots and Zoro's idea but try to calm myself down. Why would we do that? Johnny freaks, looking up at his idol with shock, along with Usopp, but it is bedwetting terror as always. You moron. We don't know anything about this place, Usopp snaps. Our opponents are fishmen. He shouts in panic. We should plan out everything first, the sniper suggests, but Zoro isn't listening as he turns around to face the island with his foot resting on the top. Sorry, but I don't do those cowardly things. Luffy has asked me to bring that woman back. I don't care who the opponents are, but I'll surely get her back, Zoro declares as we watch the spectacle. No, thanks, dummy, I remark, walking past the cowardly twins and grabbing Zoro by the shoulder. Let's go, he shouts, but I'm not dying or letting anyone else for right now as I use the same move as Uncle Mahawk and slam the side of my hand into the back of his neck. However, I use more force, knocking him unconscious long enough to get the cowardly duo to get some rope to tie him up to the cabin. We need to find the Going Merry, which is here, I inform them, glaring at Johnny, who cowers slightly back at my intense glare. Usopp gets out the binoculars he carries around in his man's purse. There it is, I found it, it's the Going Merry, Usopp announces, grinning, but stops, frowning. But why would it be over there? He wonders, confused. It is strange, but we need all the facts right now. So Big Sis Nami is definitely here just like Big Sis Dakota said, Johnny says as he rubs the side of his face, which I may have slapped to calm him down. What's the meaning of this? Untie me, Zoro demands, but it falls on deaf ears. This part's to the Ikoyashi village, he explains, pointing out on the ship. But that is weird. Why would she anchor so far away from the park? I question as we look at the map. Untie me. Damn it. Zoro demands louder this time. I push Usopp over to him to talk some sense into the stubborn swordsman. You've got deadly wounds all over you. So just sit there quietly and rest, Usopp tells him, and I look over to see his hand right over one of the wounds, with Zoro gritting his teeth in pain. I'll handle the rest. I'll bring that woman back, he laughs. Just because we're not at Arlong Park, he sure is taking everything in stride, Johnny comments, looking at me, and I nod in agreement before looking over at Zoro, who keeps demanding to be untied. I thought you'd learn by now. I know better, I smirk, making Zoro more annoyed than ever. Prepare anchor. Head towards the Going Merry. Usopp orders and Johnny runs over to steer us towards our ship. Usopp stands at the bow with his arms crossed. Now it's time for me to name my adventure to this uncharted island. The title will be, The Great Adventure of Captain Usopp, he declares, then seems to freak out and run to cower behind us. Is everything okay, Captain Usopp? I question, looking at the cowardly sniper as he seems to grow pale. Usopp points behind him, and I see 3 fishmen on the dock who appear to be talking about something. Fishmen, Johnny and Usopp shriek, freaking out. Full speed ahead. Usopp quietly orders as we pass them. Capit, Johnny quietly complies. Why don't we dock here? Zoro exclaims, but we shush him so as not to draw attention from the fishmen. Did you see? Those were fishmen over there? They're Arlong's men? You can't blame me, Usopp whimpers. But Zoro isn't having it as he uses his tied-up feet to hit him in the face. You don't have the right to be mad, he roars. This area must already be controlled by Arlong, I conclude, prying Usopp away from Zoro's feet. What should we do now? Johnny asks. Alright, let's just say that we couldn't get Nami back, Usopp suggests, making me hit him in the back of the head, and the sniper cries out in pain, rubbing his head. Hurry up and untie me, idiot, Zoro demands loudly, meaning it gains the attention of the fishmen as they dive into the water heading towards us, making the cowardly twins freak out. Abandon ship, he cries, and Johnny and Usopp race towards the bow. Hold on, you two, the green-haired swordsman shouts, but the cowardly duo pay us no mind as they jump over, making us swim for it. Farewell, Johnny and Usopp shout, leaving us, and I jump onto the cabin's roof, laying flat, hiding from the approaching fishmen. Hey, at least untie me, Zoro demands, but we don't listen, and I feel a jolt from both sides, meaning 2 fishmen are now on board the boat. What? Only one guy? The chubby one asks his skinny friend as I peek down to get a look at them and Zoro. Maybe he just drifted here from somewhere, the skinny one reasons. You can say so, Zoro grits his teeth. I see, I guess the injury came from the crew of this ship torturing you, he muses. Anyways, let's bring him to Arlong before anything else. The chubby one replies to his friend, and they steer the boat to the large building where Arlong resides. See, once we get closer to Arlong Park, I shift closer to the left and lean over, making sure the 2 fishmen can't see me as I pop open the cabin's side window and slip inside out of view as we approach the building's gates. See, the fishmen steer the boat to the gates to the building and drift to a stop before them as the skinny one shouts to his fellow fishmen inside. We've found a suspicious man. The gates open, allowing us to drift inside towards a throne with the fishman, Arlong, lazing there as I peer through the tiny window to see more fishmen standing on the ground around the little boat and some swimming in the water on either side. The fishmen haul Zoro out of the boat to the concrete floor of their ugly home while I watch them with a huff. I've had enough of this, I mutter and sneak out of the tiny window onto the boat's deck, still surrounded by fishmen. I peer over to see them looking at their leader, the fishman Arlong. I'll ask you once more, what's your purpose here? Arlong demands, looking down at the tied-up Zoro. Like I said, I'm here to find a woman, you half-fish bastard, Zoro snaps, insulting the fishmen hugely. Oh, this low-life human got guts. I'll let that slip by me this time. But you're not allowed to say half-fish ever again. Us fishmen are evolved beings who can breathe underwater. With these fish abilities, it makes us superior to humans. With merely the power we behold is proof that we are far better than humans. You better get this in your head, the most superior beings on Earth are not humans, but as fishmen. If humans were to go against us, it'd be defying the laws of nature. Arlong spews out fantasy, though I know from experience that fishmen are strong. But fishmen like Arlong don't help others' opinions on the subject when they do things like this. I have gotten tired of your theory, Arlong. I hear Nami's voice, walking out of the building towards Arlong and his 2 guards with such confidence it seems fake. Why are you so serious, Nami? You're special. You're our greatest cartographer. You never failed to draw the most accurate maps for me. He praises her, so that's their relationship, and I can see the desperation in her eyes. Our brain compositions are different, so it's obvious why I can. She snaps at him and looks slightly at Arlong. Hey, Nami. What does he mean by, our greatest cartographer? Why are you so close to this guy? Zoro demands, and I use my stealth training to maneuver quickly off the boat and jump onto the roof of the building and into a random window to hide but still close enough to hear them without being seen. See, what? You guys know each other? Arlong asks them as I settle by the window inside Arlong Park. Don't be ridiculous. Nami denies it quickly but is too quick, adding suspicion among the fishmen. He's just another victim. I gained a lot of loot from them. She walks towards Zoro as she says this, and I know she is talking about my money and weapons. That little witch. You don't even realize you've been deceived. And you still come chasing after me. You're just plain stupid. She squats in front of Zoro as she says this. So is this your true nature? And to think that you hated pirates? Zoro inquires with a dark look on his handsome face. Surprised. Everything was an act. You'll understand better after seeing this, Nami replies, moving her left shoulder slightly to the side, showing a tattoo of the symbol of the Arlong pirates. Zoro looks up to the top of the building where the flag flies, confirming it. I am a part of this invincible crew, an officer of Arlong's crew. That information doesn't make sense if she was out of Arlong's control finding treasure, but from what I can tell, he doesn't have a piece. I don't see any of my weapons in their little armory where I find myself. They are top class. See? You've been following me. From the beginning. I've only been using you. You guys aren't too shabby at fighting. You're a real useful bunch. Especially Dakota and her big pay, Nami comments, making Arlong give out a chuckle. You were blindly deceived, weren't you? She can even forget her mother's death for the sake of money. This woman's a cold-hearted witch. Arlong provokes, seeming to get a rise out of Nami as she stiffens at the mention of her mother. You shouldn't have underestimated her. Zoro glances up at Nami, looking at her face. I get the picture now. I never did trust her from the beginning. I wouldn't be surprised if she was a murderer ever. Zoro comments, seeming to be playing at something. If you understand, just get lost already. You're an eyesore, Nami snaps, making Zoro begin his idiotic idea as he looks up at her, smirking before bending his legs and diving back into the water. Why? Why did hell a sudden? A fishman with purple skin questions, looking down at the water. Did anyone say a bad joke? A fishman with green skin jests, pointing to the water. Nope, it's not like he slipped in because of one. A fishman with blue skin replies. Then he must be trying to escape, the chubby fishman exclaims in shock. No way. His arms and legs are all tied up. The skinny fishman reasons. How can he swim? I bet it's suicide. Forget him. Arlong orders, Zoro better have a good plan, or I will raise him from the dead to kill him again, though I can't do that as far as I know. I look out the window, gripping the side tightly. I can feel the stone brickwork crumbling under the force. Never imagined that he'd commit suicide, he comments as they just look in the water as the bubbles keep floating to the top. He looked too good to just give up that easily, another fishman comments. Should we teach him on how to value life? A fishman asks his fellow fishmen, but I know they are just taunting Zoro as they burst into light laughter, making my blood boil. Before I can move, Nami dashes towards the platform's edge in the water, stripping her sandals and diving into the water. With that done, it goes quiet among the fishmen. Nami exposes herself to that one action, and now she has to think of a good excuse before she gets killed, and Zoro is along with her. Nami jumps out, holds onto the concrete platform's side, and pulls Zoro, who breathes heavily from staying under for too long. She got him. Hey, what are you doing, Nami? The fishmen break out into questions, but Nami already has it covered. What do you think you're doing? Nami asks as she looks down at Zoro as he coughs up water. Same to you. What do you think you're doing? Zoro asks back and turns his head to look at her. You can't even let one person die in front of you. Quit the act already. Help me here, idiot. I thought I was a goner there. It angers Nami as she gets to her feet and stomps onto his back. Stop messing with me. She snaps and lifts him to his feet. If you got involved with me anymore, you'll die. I wonder about that, he smirks, laughing a little. Wonderful bandages you've got there, our navigator comments, trying to play off her saving him. I can't afford new clothes. This is a substitute, the swordsman lies, but Nami sees through it and punches him in the gut, winding him. He falls to the ground from the hit, maybe even opening his stitches. He kneels with his head on the floor, trying to overcome the pain. Nami walks away from him as if she had done nothing. Hey, Nami. What are you planning for him? The fishman on her left asks, seeming suspicious of the strawberry blonde woman. Lock him up. I'll take care of it, Nami retorts as she walks towards them. Arlong, Arlong, a fishman calls, running over to him. What's wrong, bud? Arlong asks him, looking over at him. Forgive me. There was a long-nosed guy who was with him, but I failed to capture him, he announces. I glare, thinking of the long-nosed sniper, where he is, and hoping he can feel my anger from over here. I think he fled into Kokoyashi village, but… Kokoyashi village? Good timing. I got some errands there. Shall I pay them a visit? The fishman captain muses, looking down at Nami as she clenches her fist in anger, so there is something in the village she wants to protect. See, Arlong finally leaves with a few of his fishmen to the village, leaving Zoro unguarded. Now it is my time to grab him, beat him up, and get us out of here. I walk around the building looking for my weapons, but still, I can't find them anywhere, which is overly frustrating. I'll have to forget about them for now, then torture Nami into telling me where she hid them. I look at the window before me and run towards it, jumping back down to the main area from before, but stick to the building's side as I sense more fishmen around and don't want to get caught. See, I land perfectly on the ground by the building's side, staying in the shadows thanks to my assassin stealth training. I walk over to the room I remember the fishmen hauling Zoro into, but it's already open, and I find Nami in the doorway with a pathetic little knife in her hand. I glare at the navigator as I sneak behind Nami while Zoro looks up to see her with the… I sneak behind Nami as Zoro looks up to see her with the little knife. She walks towards him and slices his ropes, freeing him. I move into the room and stand by the wall out of sight. Once Nami's done that, she walks back to the door and looks over her shoulder at him. Leave quickly. Before Arlong gets back, Nami orders Zoro before leaving. Well, I guess I don't have to rescue you, I comment, leaning against the wall next to Zoro, startling him as if he is not noticing me, and I smirk, showing my little fangs. I throw his only remaining sword, and Zoro catches it, looking it over for any damage. You're welcome. I push off the wall and walk to the door with Zoro behind me. See, I walk calmly, with Zoro following me close behind as we approach the main gate. Well, looks like we've got an escapee and intruder. A fishman with purple skin comments, gaining the attention of 5 other fishmen. Seems so, another fishman replies and clenches his fists, seeming to mean business. Look, we just want to get out of here, no trouble, I lie, calmly putting my hand on the hilt of my 2 stolen swords and taking them out of their holds, slicing the 2 fishmen before me across their chests. They fall back onto the floor, gaining the other fishmen's attention. Zoro unsheathes his sword, pointing it towards the approaching fishmen pirates. You said no trouble. This looks like trouble, Zoro remarks as the fishmen move in closer, ready for a fight. Well, I was more concerned for you not to lose your way. Mister gets lost in a straight line. I tease him as a fishman meets the end of his blade as Zoro attacks. I do not, he denies as I kick a fishman in the stomach before slicing him up the gut. There's 5 left, I comment and dash towards 2, slicing both of them down at the same time. Zoro slices one from behind me in the fishman's back as he is about to attack me. I turn to look at him, smiling. I didn't know you cared, I joke but don't get the reaction I was hoping for as he just shrugs it off and walks to take the last 2 fishmen down. The fishmen are finally taken down. Zoro walks over to a fishman with a blue shirt, taking it from him and putting it on. That's kinda gross, I comment as he walks towards Arlong's pretend throne and sits down, leaning back with his hands behind his head. What are you doing? She told me to escape, but the only thing we have to do lies here. I did promise Luffy that I'd get her back, didn't I? Now then, what should we do? Things are getting complicated, the swordsman reasons, but I know he's right, so I take a chance and sit on his lap, startling Zoro. Don't mind if I sit here, right? I ask, not really caring, and I finally get the reaction I was hoping for. I can see the faintest blush on his cheeks as I look down at him. He glares at me but makes no move to push me off as I sit here on his lap. You ever had a girlfriend, Zoro? I ask him out of the blue, startled by my question. No, Zoro answers quickly, and I can't help but laugh. I had one once when I was a teenager living with Luffy. He always ran her out of my room. He's always been protective of me. Even though I'm way older than him, I retort and look down at him. He seems almost disappointed, almost. That's just the way Luffy is, I guess. he replies, playing it off, and I look down at him and smile. He really is one of Luffy's good friends. He always makes the best of friends, even with complete strangers, even as a kid. Yeah, he is, I agree, smiling fondly as I think about my baby brother. At Arlong Park, I sit in Zoro's lap, waiting for Arlong and the rest of his merry fishmen minions to return from the local village. I lean back into Zoro's chest, trying to be careful of his bed cuts from Uncle Mihawk, and he crosses his leg over his knee and puts his hands behind his head. Too slow, Zoro mutters as I look around the ground at the fallen fishmen. When's Luffy gonna come? He wonders, seeming frustrated. I'm not sure, but he's never on time, I tell him, getting up from his lap and walking around thinking of a plan in case Arlong gets back. If he doesn't come in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to die of boredom. The swordsman groans, growing bored, and I look back at Zoro as I pick up one of the dead fishmen when a voice cuts through the silence. Ooh, oh, this one's awesome, a voice exclaims, making us look over to see 3 fishing poles and one in the middle moving. Even I, a member of Arlong's elite, Hachi Hachin, can't pull it up. It must be a super great fish. I don't know from where you've come, but your gusto is East Blue's best. I smirk as the octopus fishman pulls himself by the hook shorts. What? Oh, it was myself, he states, and the fishing poles snap in half, and he falls back down. I look over at Zoro as he gets up from the makeshift throne, and we walk over to the wall. I climb up to see him getting back up with help from the wall. Truly, my gusto is East Blue's best. Anything strange? The fishman, Hachi Hachin, questions as Zoro comes up next to me. Definitely strange, we remark, making Hachi Hachin look up at us with shock. Huh? Who the heck are you two? Hachi Hachin demands and seems to switch as he points to himself. Me? I'm Hachin. Call me, Hachi. He moves about, pointing at himself. Are you a fishman, too? Zoro asks Hachi an obvious question and answer. Of course, he answers with pride in his voice. I'm a charming octopus, fishman. Do I look like a human? I guess not, the swordsman replies but can't say much more as Hachi cuts him off. Are you with the Marines or are just guests? The octopus fishman asks us, giving us the perfect chance to lie our asses off. Guest? Yeah, we're guests, I lie, hoping to get some answers, and I get the feeling with Hachi. But you know, Arlong's not here right now, right? Hachi seems to ask us. Yeah, where'd he go? I ask him, hoping to find Arlong's location. I heard that there was a long-nosed stranger that was trying to run away. They say another one was caught and held here though. He went to Kokoyashi village to catch him, he replies, giving way too much, and I know who he's talking about, we both do. Usopp, huh? Zoro asks, looking at me with a knowing look. We have to save him from himself, I whisper to him as I share a look with him. That Kokoyashi village, how do we get there? I ask him, and we jump over the wall beside Hachi. Get in, Hachi tells us, pointing to a cauldron bobbing in the water next to him with one of his extra arms. Guests, right? I'll take you there, swordsman, Lady Red. I hop in with Zoro behind. I look at Hachi as he gets into the water and pulls it with the ropes around it. Once we get to the village, we need to find Usopp and wait for Luffy. I tell Zoro hushedly so Hachi can't hear us. We need to talk to him about what we found out about Nami. See, Hachi swims to the village port and stops, settling by the dock. We've arrived, Hachi announces, and Zoro climbs out before jumping down on the wooden pier. I climb up onto the cauldron's rim, but my foot gets caught, making me stumble, though Zoro catches me. I glance up at the swordsman as he looks down at me. I see a slight blush coating his cheeks, and I can feel my own heating up as we look at each other. I push myself away and straighten up as Hachi announces we're in Kokoyashi village. I fiddle with my top as Zoro collects himself, distracting ourselves from our moment. Hachi seems oblivious to our awkward moment as he continues. Arlong should be here, in this village. Yeah, thanks, Zoro replies, seeming calm, though I can hear an edge to his voice. Don't mention it, later. The strangely kind octopus fishman bids us goodbye before jumping into the water and paddling out. But Hachi stops. Oh, I didn't ask you your names. I feel panic set in for a second, but he repeats the same thing. Me? You want to hear my name again? It's Hachin, come again. Strange guy, he comments once Hachi finally leaves. Tell me about it, I agree, and Zoro takes off again in the wrong direction. I take his hand and start dragging him in the right direction at a jog. See, Zoro and I make it further into Kokoyashi village, needing some help to find our resident cowardly sniper. I look around the small town for any sign of Usopp as I keep a hold of Zoro's hand, ensuring the directionless swordsman doesn't wander off. Excuse me, but have you seen a long-nosed guy seeming almost terrified of everything? I ask a random man, making him look around, seeming scared to answer me, which makes me worry. Answer me. I order the man with force in my voice, causing him to start sweating bullets. The fishmen took him. The man shrieks, quivering in fear, and Zoro pushes the man to the side of the building and smashes his free hand on the wall next to the man's face, frightening him. What was that? Zoro demands with a stern voice, sending a tingle down my spine. Usopp got caught. He asks the man, and he seems to loosen his lips. He was just taken to Arlong Park, the man answers, even more terrified. That man was brave enough to go against Arlong. I'm sure he's been killed already, a man from behind us states. I snap my head in his direction with a mean glare that makes him shrink back. Shit, Zoro mutters as he looks at his hand, probably thinking the same thing I am. While we were killing the fishmen back at Arlong Park, Usopp was getting caught. We need to go, he yells and pulls me off into a run as we try to save our long-nosed friend. Usopp, stay alive. I shout as we run down the path leading towards Arlong Park. Zoro, not that way. See, as Zoro and I run through the dense woods on our way towards Arlong Park, I hear a crashing, falling, and snapping sound in the distance, like something bulldozing through the trees, and it's approaching quickly. I stop, looking around, keeping Zoro by my side. What is it? Zoro asks, and the rumbling noise grows closer. Yo, Zoro. Dakota. I hear Luffy call out to us from our left, and I turn my head to see him on a small boat skidding towards us fast. As the ship gets closer, I grab Zoro around the waist before leaping into the air, making us land on the boat's deck as it skids along the ground before landing harshly into the side of a hill, crashing into pieces. We've arrived. We've arrived, Luffy exclaims as he clears the dirt off his hat with a sigh. You bastard, what the heck are you doing? Zoro angrily demands, glaring at our captain as he pulls out of my hold and points at Luffy. Thank you, Koda. What do you mean? Luffy asks him, seeming confused as he puts his hat back on. It was a split-second decision, don't worry about it, I tell him, shrugging my shoulders with a smirk. We've come to take Nami back, he argues, looking at us and noticing that we're missing a few people. Still, haven't found her. Oh yeah. Where are Usopp and Johnny? I look at Zoro as if we were just on our way to rescue Usopp from the fishmen. Usopp? That's right. This isn't the time to be idling around. Zoro snaps as he gets up and runs off, passing the rest of us. What happened? My baby brother asks, and I run past him, but we stop looking back at them. He was caught by Arlong, I inform him, cringing. If we don't hurry he'll get killed. He's dead, Johnny announces, cutting in with the worst news ever. What? I snap, looking over at the bounty hunter to see him with a look of despair, and he falls to his knees on the path the boat made. It's too late. Big bro Usopp is dead. He was killed, the ground with a sob. By big sis Nami, he shouts, and I narrow my eyes at him. This doesn't sound like the Nami we know, but she did play us for some time, but still, something in my gut tells me that something isn't right because, from the short time I've known the strawberry blonde woman, she's been herself around us. Nami is playing at being a part of Arlong's crew, I just know it. Is that the truth? Yosaku asks his partner with worry, and Johnny walks over and sits beside us. Yeah, it's horrible, that woman's a witch, the blue hoodie wearing bounty hunter snaps angrily. In order to obtain some hidden treasure in Kokoyashi village for herself, she was kissing up to Arlong, and for that purpose, she killed without even thinking about it. She's a rotten-hearted lowlife. We've been fooled all this time. He rambles and strikes a chord with Luffy as he pounces, grabbing Johnny's hoodie in his fists. Bastard! Say that one more time and I'll kill you. Luffy shouts at him angrily as he shakes with rage at the cruel things Johnny is saying about Nami and drops his hat to the ground, but I pick it up for him, knowing if he loses it, he'll be devastated. Stop it, Luffy, this has nothing to do with Johnny, Zoro argues calmly. You don't have to believe me, but I saw it with my own eyes. I saw what she did to big bro Usopp. Johnny snaps, but that upsets Luffy more. You're making up crap. There's no way Nami would kill Usopp. We're friends. Luffy rages out at the bounty hunter, and I walk over, putting my hand on my baby brother's shoulder to help calm Luffy down before he does something he'll regret. But he tries saying but gets cut off when Zoro looks to his left, and I look behind me to see Nami standing there boldly. Who's friends, Luffy? Nami asks with a cocky attitude, though I can sense it's false. Nami's hurting. Nami. Luffy snaps out of it, turning to look at her with the rest of us and letting go of Johnny. I stand before Nami to see if what Johnny says is true. She could hurt Luffy, and I don't like that thought. Why did you come here? She asks us, glaring. What are you talking about? You're my companion. I came to get you, he replies, taking his straw hat back. How annoying, the navigator replies with fake irritation. Nami, our captain, questions, seeming confused by her reaction to what he said. Friends, don't make me laugh, Nami sneers, wearing a blank look to hide her real emotions, when I know all too well. You're more like a pathetic group of cooperations, don't you think? Why you? I saw it with my own eyes. How dare you kill big bro Usopp? Johnny snaps at her, getting up and standing before me. As he points at Nami, she stares coldly at him. And your point is, you want to try killing me to avenge him? She asks us, and that catches my attention, and it seems to stop Johnny. What? He gulps. I'll tell you one thing. Right now Arlong wants to kill Roronoa Zoro and his posse. All because Zoro and Dakota went and did something stupid. You guys may have these monster-like powers, but you're no match for real monsters. Hang around this island long enough, and you guys will be killed for sure. Well, it doesn't concern me though, the strawberry blonde woman warns us, and I have to say Nami is conflicted, and something isn't right. I look at Nami and see she's tense. She looks at us with a cold stare. Her cool looks are still charming. Hi Nami-san, it's me. Remember me? Let's go on a cruise together. Sanji gushes over Nami, and I turn around to see the blonde cook waving his arms. Zoro moves over to him, stopping him. You stay out of this, you'll just complicate things. Zoro snaps at the cook, which snaps Sanji out of his love episode. What did you say? My love is always a hurricane. Hey, listen to me when I'm talking. He growls at the swordsman, and I turn around to ignore their squabble. Where is Usopp? I ask her, and the answer I'm going to get from her is one I don't want. I can feel it. At the bottom of the sea, Nami answers, and I hear Zoro clutching his sword in anger, and he runs past me. Why you? Quit your bullshit. Zoro snaps and runs towards her, but Sanji stops him with a head kick. He ducks under the oncoming leg and draws his sword on Sanji. Do swordsmen attack women, too? Roronoa Zoro? Sanji questions him, seemingly calm. What did you say? You don't even know what's going on, so don't interfere. He growls right back, all worked up, and I move my arm out in front of Luffy to shield him if something or someone is going to attack or he tries to stop them. After an emotional loss, of course, you're irritable, the love cook replies, still acting calm, but that irritates Zoro further. Oi, you'd better watch what you say, the first mate warns Sanji. Mind your own business, bastard, Sanji snaps back, and Yosaku gets in the middle of them. Big bros. Don't be bickering at an important time like this, Yosaku tries telling them, waving his arms around. That's right. If you're going to fight, do it off the island. You outsiders, quit sticking your nose into this island's business, Nami snaps, glaring at us, and I can see the hurt and anger in her eyes growing. You still don't get it? The only reason I got close to you guys is for the money. Nothing else. Now that you guys have nothing, you're no use to me. I'll return the ship. So why don't you find a navigator and head to the Grand Line? Go find the One Piece or whatever. Just get the hell out of here. You're a bother. Goodbye. Nami says all this, and it still doesn't ring true to my ears. She hides her hand in a black glove, and from the smell in the air, it's a wound, but why hide that? Nami, Luffy softly mutters, looking at her and closing his eyes before falling back onto the ground. Big bro Luffy. Johnny exclaims in worry as I look behind at my baby brother and sigh at his stubborn nature. I'm going to sleep, he states, folding his arms under his head and closing his eyes. "Sleep," Johnny exclaims again above my baby brother, making me glare at him, silencing the bounty hunter. "Right now? In the middle of the road?" Yosaku asks Luffy in confusion, looking down at my baby brother like the rest of us. "I don't feel like leaving the island. I don't care what's happening here. I'm a bit sleepy, so I'm sleeping," Luffy informs us as he begins to rest, and the two bounty hunters gawk at him in disbelief. "Big bro," Johnny tries, but it falls on deaf ears as he's already fallen asleep fast, and Luffy gives out a loud snore to confirm. "Then, do whatever you want. Go ahead and die," Nami screams, looking at us. I know she really wants to save us in her own way, and she runs away, leaving us behind. "Hey, big bro Zoro, what the hell are you thinking?" Yosaku demands as I sit next to my sleeping baby brother, watching over him as Sanji sits on the grass and Zoro sits a few steps away. "You're the target of Arlong and his gang. You know, why don't you run away? Now that we know Nami is that kind of lowlife, there's no reason for you to stay on this island," Johnny snaps, but he seems to have a point in his own right. "Luffy won't have anyone else but Nami as our navigator, so we'll have to fight for her." "Reason to stay on this island? There is a reason. He's still staying here," Zoro states, looking over at us as I brush the hair out of Luffy's eyes. "Are you saying that even you're thinking of getting Nami back as a partner?" Yosaku asks with overzealous hand movements. "I don't care what happens. He decides who becomes our navigator," he argues, and he's not wrong. "The captain and the first mate have spoken," I state, smirking as I look at the bounty hunters. "Big bro, okay." The bounty hunters agree with some hesitance in their tone of voice and posture, but they won't argue with their dear big bro. "I understand. Although it's only been a short while, our job to bring you guys here is done." "I'm with him. I don't want to die in vain," Yosaku adds, and I understand their point. "Okay, take care," Zoro reads his former bounty hunter friends as they walk away. "Well then, until we meet again," Johnny waves his goodbye. "Big bro, you guys, take care too," Yosaku says his goodbyes as they walk away. "You guys too," I reply, waving goodbye. The bounty hunters get smaller down the dirt path, and a steady breeze flows past, rustling the leaves in our hair. I look down at Luffy as he still sleeps soundly, not feeling waking for anything, and I look up as Sanji speaks. "Hey, why was Nami-san crying back then?" Sanji asks out of the blue. "That woman, crying?" Zoro asks right back, but he's not wrong in some ways. Nami wasn't openly crying earlier, but you could see the emotions clouding inside her eyes. "She was crying in her heart," he replies, which seems to annoy the green-haired swordsman as he makes a noise of protest. "What? Crying tears of guilt for killing Usopp?" The first mate wonders, but I don't think that's the answer, especially for the love cook. "You're serious? You seriously think Nami-san killed that long nose?" the love cook asks, which seems to shut Zoro up, and I look between them. "Nami didn't kill him, is that what you want to say?" Zoro asks Sanji, and I look over at the two and sigh. "This is going to be a long voyage," I groan, thinking of the two continuously shouting and fighting with each other. Though it might be a good source of entertainment from time to time. "Isn't that right?" Sanji asks his own question, but he's sort of right in some respect. "I dunno. I made that little servant lose it once already. She may have just killed him in a fit of rage," Zoro retorts, and it probably isn't the best thing to say in front of the womanizer, Sanji. "Little servant. What's little about Nami-san's chest?" he shrieks, raging out, and I facepalm at the cook's reaction. "Is that all you think about?" I ask Sanji, but I sense someone approaching and turn to find Usopp getting in the way, and I place my hands on either side of Zoro and Sanji's attacks, stopping them from hitting the supposedly dead sniper in the head. "He's still alive?" Zoro questions, looking at the shocked Usopp, and he faints from the shock onto the ground. I shake Luffy awake, making him stir and push me away like he always does, and I hit Luffy in the face, waking him up with a start and sitting upright. "Come on, baby brother, we have a friend to welcome back to the living," I tell him, making Luffy turn around to see Usopp lying in fright. "Usopp, did Nami do this to you?" Luffy shouts, freaking out over his unconscious friend and shaking Usopp a little as he holds the barely conscious sniper in his arms. "No, sorry. That was him and me." Sanji apologizes to both of them for scaring Usopp. It was you. Zoro growls in denial of what Sanji said. It was both of you, I mutter, which Zoro seems to hear as he glares my way. Luffy, you're here, Usopp gasps in a low voice, staring up at our captain. Yeah, a little while back, Luffy replies matter-of-factly. I'm here too. Nice to meet you. Sanji greets Usopp politely but is still upset about his almost hit as he jumps right up from Luffy's hold and waves his fist in Sanji's face. I'll kill you someday, Usopp vows to Sanji in anger. Hey, you're still fine even after that? He questions Usopp with surprise, but that just upsets the sniper more. Shut the hell up. The sniper yells at him, waving his arms around in the air with a glare and snarl on his face. Oh, yeah, you were killed by Nami, right? I ask Usopp, looking at him, and Luffy jumps up to the side with a big grin. Damn him. Johnny was lying after all, Luffy says, smiling in celebration at Usopp's supposed return from the dead. Actually, there is some truth to it, Usopp replies, correcting them, and they all stiffen. It's more the opposite. Nami saved my life. He drops a bombshell. So Nami bluffed the killing me off part so I could escape. I think there's a reason for her being with the fishmen pirates. Of course, Sanji agrees instantly with Usopp, and I have to say I think we all do even more so now. So what do we do now? Rush Arlong Park? Zoro asks and seems too eager to get into another fight with the fishmen again. Hold on, before that, we should ask Nami for a better explanation, Usopp shouts, holding his hands to the two idiots, minus Luffy. Either way, it's useless, a woman's voice cuts in, making us turn our heads to see a woman around my age with a tattoo across her chest and arm and sky blue hair. No matter what you guys do, Arlong's reign won't end. Nijiko. Usopp shouts her name in surprise. Who's that? Luffy asks, pointing towards Nijiko and looking at Usopp. Nami's older sister, he replies. I look her up and down but see nothing in common with them, so I shrug my shoulders. I have no reason to question it as my brothers and her don't look anything like me, but they're my siblings, regardless. Nami-san's older sister? Sanji gushes over the woman with hearts in his eyes as he swoons over Nijiko. She's so pretty. Not really my type, I mutter, but it seems Zoro hears me as he looks at me, and I smile at him. What do you mean, it's useless? Zoro asks Nijiko, and I have to agree with his question. Do us a favor, Nijiko tells us. Don't meddle with this village's business anymore. Leave Nami alone. I'll tell you the reason why. The reason? Sanji repeats, and I just sigh and share a look with Luffy, and he nods at me. You mean why she stays with the fishmen? Usopp asks her, trying to narrow down what Nijiko is saying. Yes, once you hear the reason, you must leave this place, Nijiko retorts, but I know Luffy's stubbornness. Telling us about Nami's past won't work for him. Once he has an idea, he doesn't budge. All right, then tell us the reason or whatever, he replies, but I push Luffy forward, and we walk past the others. We'll pass, I tell them, making them look at us in shock. We don't care about her past. Who are we to judge? Where are you going? Sanji asks us, but I don't respond as we walk away. A walk, Luffy replies back. What do you mean, a walk? You're not going to listen to the story? Usopp asks us as we walk. Yeah, we'll pass, he repeats, and I know why after carefully listening to Nijiko's words. Well, I don't care about Nami's past, it doesn't define her. What's with them? Nijiko asks, but I just tune the rest out and look at my baby brother beside me. Well, it seems we have to start more trouble with other pirates before even stepping foot into the Grand Line. I chuckle as we walk and look at my baby brother, who seems to be thinking about something in that brain of his. Sis, do you think I'm doing the right thing keeping Nami as our navigator? Luffy asks me out of the blue, and I know the reason why, but it doesn't matter. Luffy made the right call with Nami. Yeah, because if you can't see anyone else, then there is no one else but Nami for the position, and you know it. Both Zoro and I will stick to your decision, Captain. I assure him and feel him calm down slightly with my answer. So, where do we get food around here? He asks, and I shake my head with a chuckle, taking his hand and pulling him towards the village as I feel a change in the wind and not the good kind. See, I lead Luffy back down the path where the boat skidded towards Zoro and me. I look up to see 3 fishmen standing before us, one of whom just happens to be Hachi. I quickly lower my head, ensuring he doesn't recognize me because otherwise, the other fishmen will attack us. What? So they are fishmen? Luffy asks, looking at me, and I nod in confirmation as we walk past them, not even looking at them. Hey, wait. Why you two? Hachi shouts after us, making us stop. Luffy turns around to address them, but I stay facing away, not wanting to get recognized, though with it being Hachi, I don't want to chance it. Huh? Were you calling us? Luffy asks them with his sweet and innocent look. Why you? Who are you? What are you doing on this island? He demands with force in his voice, though a D. What does it matter to you? My baby brother wonders, looking at him. Well, you got a point there. Just like you said, the octopus fishman stutters, seeming almost confused. I'm Luffy. This is Dakota, my sister. Luffy shamelessly introduces us, and I stiffen, hoping Hachi doesn't recognize me or my name, but then I remember I never gave my name. We're taking a walk. Taking a walk? Have a pleasant one, smartass. Where are you heading? Hachi asks as we continue to walk away from the fishmen but have to stop again. How should we know? He argues, and we continue walking towards the village, leaving behind the three fishmen. That was a close one, I sigh, moving Luffy along. What do you mean? The rubber idiot asks, making me glare at him before angrily hitting him over the head. Ow, that hurt. Good, I snap, pulling his cheeks apart as he squirms, trying to escape my iron grip. See, Luffy and I make it to Kokoyashi village soon after our encounter with Hachi and his fellow fishmen, and we walk down the crowded street. I look around the shops and spot a public official walking towards us with a group of Marines. Damn! I hiss, hiding behind Luffy as he stands, still gaping at the pinwheel on the official's hat. What business do the Marines have with Nami? The public official asks the Marine captain, who looks and sounds like a rat as he gives out a snicker, like a rat. You should remain quiet and escort us, the Captain Marine requests as they walk by. Why does he have a pinwheel on his head? That's too cool, Luffy exclaims, and I facepalm at my baby brother, pulling him away to the side of the road and sitting him down, leaning against the palm tree. Luffy, stop being stupid. Did you see the Marines that just walked past us not too long ago? I snap at him, but it just goes through Luffy's head like always. Man, how did our brother deal with you all on his own once I left? I mutter under my breath as I sit beside him and smack him upside the head again for good measure. A pinwheel, huh? That was so cool. Oh, I just thought of a good move, he exclaims, looking at me with excitement. Doctor! Doctor! A man shouts, running over to a group of people on the opposite side of the road from us. I look over to see what he's screaming about in such fear and see him carrying Nejico and Nami running behind them. What happened, Genzo? The doctor asks calmly as he runs over to the group as well. Nejico's been shot, Genzo reports, which gains my attention as I sit up straight, listening to their conversation and wondering how that happened after Luffy and I left her and the others. By who? He inquires, looking at the man as he tends to the injured Nejico, but that seems to gain Luffy's attention as he sits upright with excitement, spotting Nami again. The Marines, the public official answers, and the doctor repeats his response, and I sigh. Nejico, the doctor says, but I don't hear Nejico's reply. She mumbles, and they talk over her as Luffy approaches them. Nami gets up with a dark look across her face, and Luffy reads it but doesn't pay it any mind. Yo, Nami. What's up? Can I help with something? Luffy asks her, making Nami turn around with a mean glare. You're still here? Nami asks in a dark tone before grabbing Luffy's shirt and pulling him towards her. This is none of your business. Get off this island. She screams in his face before throwing him away and running off. I stand up and walk over to my idiot brother, pulling him up by the back of his shirt and dragging him back around to the palm tree where he sits, sulking. What's her problem? He grumbles, and I just shrug as I look at the injured Nejico and walk over. I'm no doctor, but I think blood should be inside the human body, I remark, looking down at the doctor, who tries to stop the bleeding. Leave me alone, Nejico snaps at me, but I just place my hand over her body. Balbareth. Heal the wound, I command, making my hand glow pure white as the blood seeps into Nejico's bullet wound that quickly closes up and expels the bullet. You're welcome, and that isn't the last time I'm going to have to do that again, I mutter, feeling the pain in my own arm as if I had a bullet wound of my own. It's a funny side effect of this ability. If I use heal the wound, I receive the pain as a backlash as if I received the wound myself. That's why I only heal minor wounds, as they're more manageable than larger ones like Zoro's. I walk away from the doctor and Nezuko as the rest of the villagers get ready to take on Arlong, and I head over to Luffy, looking down at him as he calms down a little. Luffy, they're walking into their deaths. I snap, seeing Nami walking over and catching her breath with a big fake grin as she walks towards the villagers. Just wait a little longer, I'm going to try again. I'll get the money again. It'll be easier this time. I have lots of experience, it's okay. You don't have to worry. Compared to that time, everyone I'm fine. So, Nami tries to reassure the villagers, walking towards them. But it doesn't seem to work as the public official, Genzo, walks over to her and pulls her into a one-armed hug. That's enough. We know what futility is like. You fought well for our sake. It must have been more painful for you to join that crew, more painful than it is to cut yourself. You fought well. Genzo replies, looking at Nami. She tears up in his hold, and he releases and looks at her. Now, leave this village. He orders her, shocking everyone. Genzo, she mutters in disbelief. Do it, Nami, Nezuko tells her younger sister. I can't, the strawberry blonde woman argues, and they all say her name. You've got brains, and you've got a dream, she snaps with a serious look across her face. Nezuko. Everybody, Nami protests, trying to stop them, but they seem too set to risk their lives. I won't let you, she pulls out a dagger, pointing it at them. Stop it, everybody, I don't want to see anyone get hurt anymore, you're gonna die. We know, Genzo tells her calmly without hesitation, taking hold of the blade, scaring Nami, not wanting to hurt him. It's useless. We've already decided in our hearts, the doctor argues, tears leaking from Nami's eyes at their words. Get out of the way, Nami. He orders Nami in a raised voice, and she steps back at his tone, giving them enough time. Let's go, everybody, the public official shouts and takes his sword out, facing the crowd. Even if we can't win, we'll show them our pride, Genzo cheers, and they cheer before running past the frozen Nami and away to Arlong Park. She drops the dagger and falls to her knees, her tears falling. Nami grimaces and grabs the tattoo on her shoulder in anger. She grabs for the knife lying to her side and plunges it into her shoulder as she shouts out the name of the fishman who has tormented them all for too long. Luffy, I call his name, and Luffy gets up as Nami plunges the dagger into her arm repeatedly. Luffy finally stops her, catching her wrist before she can hurt herself anymore. Luffy, Nami mumbles through her tears, looking over her shoulder at him. As Luffy looms over her, she drops the dagger. What do you want? You don't know anything. You don't know what's been happening for the past 8 years on this island. Yeah, I don't, Luffy replies truthfully and bluntly. This is none of your business. I told you to get off this island, didn't I? She snaps at him, shaking. Yeah, you told me, he repeats truthfully and bluntly. Go away, our navigator screams and swipes her hand, bringing up dirt fruitlessly as if that will make Luffy leave. You, go away, go away. Nami continues to shout, throwing dirt at him. But Luffy still doesn't budge. She tires herself out and lets herself think, crying a little more before looking back up at him. Luffy. Help me. The strawberry blonde woman pleads, and for a few seconds, it's quiet. Then Luffy removes his precious straw hat and places it on Nami's head before walking off. Dakota, my baby brother off the tree trunk, walking after him down the dirt-paved street towards Arlong Park with Luffy, and he stops bending his knees before springing up and shouting to the sky. Damn right. Luffy continues to walk towards Zoro, Usopp, and Sanji, who finally arrive. We're going. He orders us, and we all agree, wanting to help our navigator. See, third Pav. The 5 heroic-seeming pirates stroll in sync towards Arlong Park for the sake of their navigator and the villagers, who got a good head start, though they stand outside Arlong Park's gates thanks to Johnny and Yosaku blocking their entrance. There, the bounty hunters shout as they stand up, seeing the Straw Hat pirates storming towards them. The villagers turn around to watch the 5 pirates with looks of determination across their faces as they think about their friend, their navigator, Nami. Them. Nezuko mutters, recalling her brief encounter with the small group of pirates. Those guys? What about them? Genzo asks, turning to the bounty hunters. If those guys can't stand up to them, then there's no hope, not only for this island but for the whole of East Blue, Yosaku declares, holding his injured arm. Remember the faces of those 5 that have come to change the future, Johnny adds to his partner's words, and the 5 pirates get closer to them. Move, Luffy orders as he and his crew approach the crowd. They part in the middle, letting the Straw Hats walk through towards Arlong Park's gate, and Johnny and Yosaku split as Luffy begins punching his way through the stone doors. The stone gate cracks away and falls to pieces on the ground around them as debris floats and soon fades away, revealing Luffy to the fishmen. What the? Arlong questions, looking at Luffy as he straightens up with his fist raised and ready. Which one's Arlong? Our captain demands, ready for a fight. Arlong would be my name, said Fishman, answering from his makeshift throne, not even looking at Luffy, walking towards him. I'm Luffy, the captain introduces himself. Luffy? And who are you? Arlong asks him, confused about why Luffy and the rest of them are here. A pirate, Luffy answers shortly. Hachi, along with Chu and Karubi, looks at him, seeming familiar to the 3 fishmen, having encountered the Straw Hat wearing pirate earlier that day. Oh, it's him. He's here. The pirate who likes to take walks, Hachi exclaims in disbelief at seeing Luffy, but they don't spot Dakota yet. Not so fast there, you. Where do you think you're going? You got some explaining to do to us first. Fishmen say as Luffy walks towards them, and they block his path towards Arlong, their leader. Come on, hey, if you don't stop. More fishmen try to stop Luffy, but he stretches his arms and hits their heads together, knocking them to the ground. Out of the way. Luffy growls as they fall to the ground, shocking the other fishmen and ticking Arlong off. And what does a pirate want with me? Arlong asks him, but as his response, Luffy stops in his tracks and grabs the fishman's wrist, pulling it back in a crouch and launching his fist into Arlong's face. The punch's force knocks Arlong out of his makeshift throne, making him tumble away to the other side of the compound wall. Arlong hits it hard, causing the stone wall to break with debris floating around. The fishmen and some villagers gawk in shock at their leader being thrown around so quickly. Luffy stretches, preparing for the fight as the debris fades away, revealing an angry Arlong in a hole in the stone wall. Who the hell are you? Arlong demands, looking at Luffy as he breathes through his nose, heavily recalling Nami's state before he left. Don't you dare make my navigator cry, Luffy screams at him, and 2 fishmen in the water entrance jump out, aiming for the rubber man. You bastard! How dare you hit Arlong? The fishmen scream, going to attack Luffy, but Sanji steps in to protect his captain with a series of kicks, knocking them back. You weaklings, stay out of this! Sanji growls at them as they fly and walks over to stand next to Luffy. Honestly, bursting in alone like that. It's not like I'm going to lose even if I was alone, Luffy replies, not even looking at Sanji or saying thank you. Idiot, Sanji snaps at his captain, leaning over to his ear. Since did I say I was worried about you? I'm just telling you not to hog all of the prey. Oh, okay, he says, and Usopp walks over to them from the hole in the wall, with the villagers watching as Dakota and Zoro walk behind him to make sure he doesn't turn back around and run away. Oh, I don't really mind. If you hog them all, Usopp stutters in fear and anxiety about the impending fight. That's some bravery you got there, Zoro remarks, stepping to Usopp's side with Dakota on his right, blocking the cowardly sniper from bolting. That's him. It's that guy, the unknown swordsman. And that red-haired woman he was with. Hachi outs the 2, pointing at Zoro and Dakota. That's Roronoa Zoro, Karubi answers from the side. As I thought, I knew it. They're the ones who tricked me. They rode me, I gave them a ride. Hachi rambles, trying to look stern, when one of the fallen fishmen gets back up. Look, that long nose, he announces, gaining their attention as they all look at Usopp. Huh? But Nami killed that guy. The octopus fishman explains in disbelief like the rest of the Arlong pirates. He's alive, which means, Chu begins to speak when Karubi cuts him off. I knew it. I was right all along. That woman's a traitor. Karubi seethes, looking over at the group of pirates opposing them. Hey, who are those guys? A villager questions, watching the fight unfold, and Johnny and Yosaku move their blades to block the entrance, not wanting the civilians to get in the way or injured. Hold up, the bounty hunters warn the villagers. He blew Arlong away, the doctor gasps along with the others. Unbelievable. That's not something a normal human can do, Genzo argues, gasping at the sight before them. Those guys, Nijiko mutters. You still want to fight? Yosaku asks them, expecting the villagers to let the 5 pirates handle it. If you guys join in, you just make things worse for them. You just get in the way, Johnny warns them against doing anything rash. But why are they fighting? What reason do they have to fight them? Genzo asks the bounty hunters in shock at the 5 strangers wanting to help them after so long without a knowable reason. A reason? Yosaku repeats, already knowing the answer. Big sis Nami was crying. Johnny informs them. She risked her life. Do we need any other reason? He rhetorically asks, looking at the look on the villagers' faces. Pirates, eh? I see. So that's the relationship between you guys. I thought you were just Nami's victims. But, Arlong chuckles. But what can 5 inferior beings possibly do? He taunts the Straw Hats as Hachi walks over to them. You guys are idiots. You think Arlong will waste his time with the likes of you? He'll be enough for the job? Hachi shouts at them, using his cone-like mouth like a trumpet, and calls out to the sea for the beast below, making the villagers begin panicking as they know who the octopus fish man is calling. Could it be? It's coming, that is. A large rumble comes from the sea as the beast comes forward, shaking the land and sea as the beast gets closer, and as it does, the waves get stronger and harsher. WHWH, what's going on? Usopp panics as the rumbling gets worse and a massive wave comes closer. You guys can be his next meal, come out, Momo, Hachi laughs. A whirlpool appears in the middle of the water entrance, and the water rises around the beast. It's a monster. The monster from the Grand Line that crushed Gosa village. He screams on the spot as the water recedes, revealing the battered and tearing monster. It's huge. It's the sea bull, Momo. The villagers panic as Momo moves closer to look at the 5 pirates and spits 2 he recognizes in fear. Oh, it's just him, Luffy grumbles, not impressed by the cow sea beast. So he was a nakama of the fishmen? Sanji wonders, and Momo remembers his encounter with Luffy and Sanji, turning and leaving with his tail between his legs. Hold on, Momo. Where do you think you're going? Hey, wait. I tell you, Momo, Hachi cries after his friend as the giant cow sea beast leaves. Momo, what are you doing? Arlong asks him, which strikes more fear into the sea bull, making Momo stop in his tracks. Well, if you want to run away, I won't stop you, would I, Momo? He asks, but it changes the beast's mind as it turns around in full monster mode and goes to attack the enemy pirates. It's coming, Usopp screams, backing into the wall of the compound and waving his arms around in front of him in fear. Yeah, get him. Follow Momo. The fishmen cheer for the sea bull as they rally after Momo gets closer to the Straw Hats. I'm sorry, he screams, and Zoro begins unsheathing his sword, but Dakota stops him. I'll take care of him. This is a waste of time. Luffy snaps and punches his fists together before planting his feet into the concrete to steady himself. What the hell is he gonna do? Sanji asks with concern for his captain. I've got a bad feeling about this, Dakota mutters as they watch their captain bend over and straighten up as fishmen race around to attack the anchored Luffy and twist his abdomen around a few turns, then grab hold of Momu's horns. The sea bull returns to his sad self at the impending pain, and Luffy stretches out his arms as the rest watch. His arms stretched, Hachi yells, gaping with the others. He possesses the powers of the devil's fruit? Arlong questions, joining in on the gaping at Luffy. What? Who cares? Let's go. The fishmen run after Luffy outans plan. Oi, run! Zoro shouts and pushes Dakota back. What's he gonna do? Sanji asks him in a panic. I dunno, but it's not gonna be pretty. He warns the love cook and pushes them back away from Luffy. Gum, pinwheel, Luffy shouts, swinging Momo around and knocking the fishmen too close away. He finally lets Momo go and flies back into the open waters as Luffy tries to catch his breath. I didn't come here to fight these guys. The one I want to take down is you. Luffy shouts and points over at Arlong as he sits in the hole he made in the wall. That's just perfect. I was just thinking about how I'd like to kill you now, too, Arlong remarks, smirking with an evil glint as the others approach Luffy to scold his reckless plan. That was dangerous, you idiot, Sanji scolds his captain as he tries to knock some sense into him by hitting Luffy over the head with his foot. "Did you want to kill us too?" Usopp roars at him as Dakota and Zoro hang back. "Huh?" Luffy asks, confused by their outrage. Such destructive power. It's unbelievable that a human who can throw a monster like that even exists. Is this battle of this world? The villagers question, gaping at what they witnessed, and inside the compound, Luffy finally realizes his feet are stuck in the concrete. He wiggles around, trying to free his feet, but they won't budge. "What the hell did you think you were doing?" Usopp roars at Luffy. "How dare you do that to our crew?" Hachi yells at the 5 humans. "Looks like we have to get our hands dirty now," Karubi states. "I think we need to teach them the difference between our species." Chu threatens the humans, but it only gets to the swordsman. So, the main forces have finally shown themselves. Zoro beams, looking at the 3 fishmen in front of them. "Arlong, please stay right where you are," Karubi tells him. "If you fought out of rage, Arlong Park would turn to dust," Chu adds. "We'll take care of them," Hachi bellows, standing up. "Yeah, do whatever you like." Arlong agrees with his main guys as Usopp sneaks away in fear, so far unnoticed by anyone. "Scary," Usopp whispers in fear, looking at the remaining fishmen. "Hey, wait." Luffy tries to gain the others' attention, but Hachi redirects it as he inhales a large breath. "Looks like the octopus is up to something," Zoro warns the others as they look at him. "First, you boil the octopus in salt water, slice, then flavor with olive oil and paprika. It makes a great appetizer." Sanji instructs, and Luffy leans forward, waving his hand slightly. Wait, can you hear me out?" Luffy tries again to gain their attention, but Hachi still takes it. "Take this," Hachi shouts out. 0 visibility. Hachi ink jet. He squirts a jet of ink towards the 4, and 3 of them dodge out of the way. But Luffy takes the whole attack as he's stuck in the concrete. "You moron. Why didn't you dodge it?" Zoro snaps at the ink-covered rubber man as he cries, covering his eyes. "Ah, I can't see," Luffy shouts. "And to finish you off," Hachi says, quickly picking up a sizable block of rubble from the destroyed surroundings. "Hey, Luffy, run away," Usopp shouts out to his captain as Hachi walks slowly and carefully towards Luffy. "Yeah, that's just the problem. I can't seem to move," Luffy tells them as he tries loosening his feet in the concrete, with a shadow from a large chunk of wall overcasting him. "Huh?" Sanji asks, getting up and looking over at Luffy. "My feet won't come out," he exclaims in a panic, still trying to get his feet out of the concrete. "Idiot! Didn't you stick him into the ground in the first place?" Usopp shouts his outrage and panic from his hiding spot. "What was he thinking?" Dakota mutters, shaking her head at her baby brother. "On the rocks," Hachi shouts, dropping the stone wall piece on Luffy with a loud thud. A second later, a crack appears in the middle of the part that spreads out, and damages under the hit to reveal Sanji had kicked the center, breaking the stone and saving Luffy. "This is just great," Sanji mutters in disappointment, glancing over his shoulder at his captain. Cool, nice one, Luffy exclaims, looking at his cook in awe at the raw talent and power. "Looks like I ended up with a complete moron for my captain," Sanji complains lightly, though, after everything that happened at the Baratie earlier, he wouldn't have it any other way. "We're on the same boat," Zoro agrees with the love cook, though the pair of them know that with Luffy by their sides, their dreams are possible. "How do you think I feel?" Dakota remarks, smirking as she reflects on her time with Luffy while she was growing up. "He's awesome," Usopp gasps in awe of Sanji's powerful display. "Well, at least it's 100 times better than being with a low-life bunch that hurts a lady," Sanji comments, looking at the fishmen. "A lady? You came here all the way here for that kind of woman? You guys make me laugh," Karubi mocks the Straw Hat Pirates. "That kind of woman? Say that about Nami-san again, and I'll cook you in a buttered frying pan. Making you into a meunier, fishman," he threatens him, pointing at Karubi. "You look like you can fight for a human. But a pirate who fights by chivalry can only be mediocre," the stingray fishman warns him with his pointed arms crossed. "Why don't you see for yourself, if my chivalry is mediocre? I was raised by an unbeatable pirate," the love cook retorts at the fishman. "Seems like you're really unfamiliar with the superiority of the fishmen race," Karubi snaps, cracking his knuckles. Sanji kisses his teeth in annoyance as Karubi readies for a fight. Meanwhile, Usopp grabs Luffy under his arms and pulls him away, hoping to pry his captain's feet out of the concrete. "I still ain't getting free," Luffy tells him as his legs stretch further before them. "Not yet, can't you pull him out yet?" Usopp asks him, straining as he stretches out Luffy's legs. "Not yet," he replies the same. "I don't think I can get out just by stretching." "Are you even trying?" The sniper roars at his captain. "Do you even want to free your legs? Why are those two fooling around for? This is Arlong Park, for crying out loud. I'll kill you," Hachi shouts, picking up a piece of the stone near Luffy's feet as Usopp dashes, trying to outrun the fishman. Crap, come on, damn it, get him out. We gotta get outta here." Usopp panics as he runs with Luffy under his arm, stretching out the rubber man's legs. "Wait," he yells at them. "Hey, octopus. Those two are busy. I'll be your opponent," Zoro informs the octopus fishman, pointing his sword at Hachi. "NYU. Roronoa Zoro. I almost forgot about you. How dare you trick me," Hachi shouts, dropping the stone onto the ground by Zoro as he dodges in time. The swordsman lands on the ground a fair bit behind Hachi. "That's right, then you also killed some of my brethren. I'm not interested in any of that old news, and it wasn't just me. The redhead over there helped. Your reason for wanting me dead, I don't care about it. The situation's changed. It's not you who wants to kill us. It's us who want to kill you," Zoro snaps, revealing his sword as the two stand facing one another. "Alright, Zoro, I'll let you have that octopus." "Nice," Usopp says, and lets go of Luffy, who slings back to where his feet are planted. Usopp finally sees his mistake. "Ah, Luffy." Luffy swings around towards Chu, who looks over to see him and Usopp, but it's too late. Luffy knocks into him, throwing the fishman away onto his back with a cry. "I'm back to where I started," Luffy sighs, wobbling as Chu gets up. "Bastard," Chu snaps, looking over at Luffy and Usopp. "Goodbye," Usopp cries, tears trickling down his face from under his goggles. "Looks like you really do want to be killed," he sneers, looking over at Usopp and Chu clips, getting up to his feet and running towards him. Usopp slowly turns around before bolting out of the compound past the villagers and bounty hunters. Who saved Genzo? A man wonders, watching Usopp disappear down the dirt path, and Chu jogs up to the hole where the villagers are standing. "Aren't you guys from Kokoyashi village? Seeing that you have all these weapons, I can assume you guys are rebelling? You guys are all..." Chu tries threatening the villagers but is interrupted by flames, thanks to Usopp. "Flaming star," Usopp shouts as Chu catches on fire and falls away from the villagers. "Big bro Usopp," Johnny yells, and the flames stop, leaving Chu on his back again. "Your opponent is Me," he exclaims from far away from the fishman, keeping a safe distance to avoid getting severely injured. "If you want to die so badly, I'll kill you right now," Chu roars as he gives chase again, with Usopp running away and the fishman close behind. "What's with that guy?" Genzo wonders as he and the rest of the villagers look back as Usopp and Chu run down the dirt path. He stands up to fight, and then he runs away. "He's a strange one," the doctor adds, musing as he looks back, then turns to watch the rest of the battle inside Arlong Park. "See?" Usopp races down the dirt path away from Arlong Park with Chu close behind him as he breathes heavily, trying to free himself of the fishman as he cries out. "Get back here, you long nose," Chu shouts ahead at him. "Hey, same with your mouth," Usopp shouts back as they run further away from Arlong Park. "See?" Back at Arlong Park, Arlong has enough and gets up, walking over towards his subordinates. Same old, move. This is getting boring. I just can't stand watching," Arlong snaps, approaching them. "Arlong-san, I thought we asked you not to get violent here," Karubi replies, looking at their leader. "I'm not going to. I just thought of an interesting game," he replies, smirking. "A game?" Hachi repeats, confused. "I'm gonna destroy you," Luffy shouts as he goes to punch Arlong, extending his arm, but the shark fishman just slightly moves his head to the side, making Luffy miss. The rubber man retracts his hand back, but Arlong grabs hold before it returns. "Do you guys seriously think you can win against us?" Arlong asks the intruders. "So, what about it?" Sanji asks him back. Of course, we think that, you idiot. Let go of my hand. Luffy yells, interrupting with his idiotic timing. Seems like he wants to say something. Zoro sneers and clicks his sword slightly as a threat when Arlong kneels in front of Luffy with his hand still in the fishman's webbed hand and punches the concrete in front of his feet. Arlong keeps his hand in the concrete and rips it up with Luffy's feet still inside. Whoa! What's going on? Luffy cries out as Arlong holds him over his head with both hands. People who possess the power of the devil's fruit are dead weights. Well, even if you didn't have those powers, you'd still stink in this situation. Arlong laughs, and the others catch on to his idea. He can't be thinking, into the sea, Zoro exclaims with fear, along with Sanji and Dakota. Gum gum. Pistol. Luffy shouts, punching Arlong, but he catches Luffy's fist in his mouth and bites down, drawing blood as he laughs, and Luffy cries out of pain. Idiot. Arlong snaps lowly, and Luffy tries to free himself by biting Arlong's arm. Why you? He shouts, letting go of Luffy's arm as the rubber man attacks Arlong's arm. Useless, Karubi mutters, watching the scene in front of them as Arlong throws Luffy away into the water in front of them. Luffy! Dakota and Zoro shout after him in a panic as they watch their captain fly away into the ocean outside the park gates. Bastard! Sanji grits his teeth, watching as Luffy splashes into the water. Arlong laughs maniacally, and Sanji runs forward, trying to save Luffy. I'm coming to save, Sanji begins to shout, but Zoro stops him in his tracks. Idiot, don't get worked up, Zoro snaps at the blonde chef. If you jump in, you'll be right where they want you to be. The fishmen have the upper hand underwater. There's only one way to save Luffy, Dakota argues, looking at Sanji with a hard stare. Take care of these guys and the leftover minions quickly and then jump into the water? Let's do it, we don't have much time. Sanji agrees with the red-haired woman, making Zoro roll his eyes. Right, Zoro agrees as the three of them are ready for a fight. How many seconds do you think he'll last? That rubber man? Arlong wonders aloud to frustrate the three humans. Ah, so this is the game you were talking about, Hachi gleams, smiling. I see, Karubi agrees as they look down on the humans before them, and Hachi chuckles. The fish is yours, Zoro states as he holds up his sword. You got the octopus, Sanji retorts as he readies for his fight against Karubi and takes a drag from his cigarette. I've got the minions, Dakota adds, smirking, looking around the leftovers that had somehow missed the swirling sea bowl. Let's have some fun, boys. See, meanwhile, Luffy struggles to breathe below the ocean's surface as bubbles float to the top. He keeps his hands over his mouth and nose to stop himself from breathing in the water. See, by the first hole in the stone wall where the villagers, Johnny and Yosaku stand, the two bounty hunters hang onto the wall, fearing the rubber man at the bottom of the seabed. Oh, no! He can't do anything by himself like that! Yosaku shouts in a panic. Big bro Luffy is gonna die. Johnny cries from behind the wall, and they watch the bubbles slowly become less before disappearing into nothing. Again, Arlong gives out a cruel laugh. You can't even breathe underwater. Humans are such inferior beings, Arlong chuckles from his throne. Come on, Zoro yells, I'm your opponent, you freaking octopus, said Octopus, giving out a chuckle, looking at the green-haired swordsman. Game. A game. Hachi giggles, still sticking to what Arlong had said minutes ago. I'll finish this up in 5 seconds, Zoro grunts as he runs towards the octopus fishmen with Sanji beside him. Dakota stays where she is, licking her lips in glee at the fishmen surrounding her. No, 3 seconds, Sanji boasts, not focusing on the fight and starting an argument with the swordsman. Don't be in such a hurry. No matter what happens, you have no hope of living after this, Karubi snaps as Sanji goes for a kick, but Karubi blocks the blow. Hachi ink jet. Hachi shouts and shoots a jet of ink towards Zoro, but he dodges it again. Hold on, Luffy. Zoro shouts as the 4 leftover fishmen walk around Dakota with smirks, thinking she's easy prey. See. Meanwhile, Usopp runs with Chu behind him in the island's countryside, not far off. I'm doomed, Usopp screams as he continues to run. What do you think? Interesting game, isn't it? We'll see how long that rubberman can last. Or will you guys die before he does? Arlong asks, chuckling as his fish minions circle around me, ready for a fight. This is so below me, I mutter, growling as I wish I could fight, but the fishmen surrounding me make it a little harder to get to him. I'll beat these jerks' ass real quick. Then, I'll save you, Luffy. Zoro shouts as he runs at Hachi, and the octopus fishman goes for another jet of ink at the swordsman, but he dodges. I don't see the rest as one of the fishmen swings at me, but I grab a hold and swing him over my shoulder after kicking him in the chest, making him fall onto his back, winded. I turn to the other three as they stare at their fallen friend, and another comes for a swing, but the one I knocked down comes behind me and grabs me around my chest. I struggle in his tight grip, feeling him squeezing, and I swing my leg up, kicking him in the head, making him let go, and I lean forward and grab hold of the swords at my hips. I notice Zoro stagger in his step, standing still, with his sword clutched in his hands as sweat beads down his forehead, his wounds getting the better of him, making him fall to the ground face first with heavy breathing as he lies there. I go to move, but the fishmen cut me off as all I can do is try and save either Luffy or Zoro. But the problem is getting through these fishmen, though I can only save one. I see a yellow shape flying past my vision into the far wall behind me and through it, creating a hole. I glance over to see Sanji, but I have my own troubles as I try to get towards Zoro to help, forgetting about the fishmen. I suddenly feel a piercing pain in my abdomen, and I look down to see one of the fishmen with a sharp sword in his hand, and the pointy end is in my stomach. I glance up at the fishman in shock as he pulls it out, and they chuckle as my knees buckle under me and fall face first onto the concrete slab. I hear the sounds of Arlong giving a chuckle and sounds of panic from Yosaku and Johnny with the villagers before blacking out. I see nothing but darkness before it grows red. See. Third Pav. 5 pirates started in the fight against the Arlong pirates. Now, 3 lie on the ground with severe injuries, 1 drowning, and only 1 left, running for his life with a fishman not far behind. Luffy struggles to breathe underwater as Nejico and Genzo sneak off to save him. Zoro lies on the ground in pain from his deep chest wounds caused by his earlier encounter with Dracula Mihawk. Sanji lies facing the sky unconscious, thanks to Karubi's killer punch. Usopp is running for his life with Chu chasing him in the countryside between Arlong Park and Kokoyashi Village. Dakota is slowly bleeding to death as the fishmen watch sadistically, unknowingly unleashing a demon deep inside her. It's over now, Arlong-san. What should we do with Roronoa, Zoro and the red-haired girl? Karubi asks as they stand, looking at the injured pirates. Toss their asses into the sea, Arlong replies. How pathetic, how boring. NYU, it's over? Hachi asks, confused as he holds his 6 swords and looks around, disappointed. But they really did make a mess around here, Karubi complains, looking around at the compound to see his fellow fishmen lying around, either dead or unconscious, with pieces of the walls crumbling everywhere along with the ground and building. That's no big deal. It's alright as long as Arlong Park still stands, Arlong argues, and Karubi agrees with his statement. You bastard. Roronoa Zoro. He was scared to death before I got to show my skills. I would have been so famous if you had fallen by my blades. Well, it doesn't matter. Humans still can't compete against me in my wonderful, amazing 6-sword style. You can't touch me, Hachi shouts and moves his swords around, creating a vortex that lifts the debris of the short fight, flying into the strong wind the octopus fishman creates. The villagers and bounty hunters watch this with fear as it grows higher and more debris swirls around in the strong wind. That's enough, Hachi. I understand how you feel, but if you get serious, it might get dangerous. You want to destroy Arlong Park? Karubi questions, looking over his shoulder at the octopus fishman, and he slows down his movements. Huh? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I just forgot myself for a minute there. He apologizes and cuts the vortex off, and it flies off into the sky. It's fine, forget it, the stingray fishman tells him, but he still apologizes. Right, sorry. 6-sword style. Huh? You're full of crap, Zoro snaps, gaining consciousness again and struggling to reach his feet, gaining everyone's attention. Big bro, Johnny screams as they watch him stand hunched over. Roronoa Zoro, Hachi exclaims in shock. Let me just make one thing very clear, Octopus. There is someone I must meet again, and until that day, Zoro sneers and looks up at them through hooded eyes. Not even death himself can take my life away or Dakota's. See, currently, Usopp runs for his life in the countryside as Chu chases him along the dirt path, screaming, "Shit! How fast can this long nose run?" His speed and stamina are incredible. Chu mutters as he runs after Usopp. The cowardly sniper runs and stops, turning around to face the fishman. Huh? He's not following me anymore. Damn, that's too bad. Looks like I left him in my dust. He may look like a fish in water, but he's just a turtle on land. Turtle. Yeah, turtle. If you really think you can catch me, try, I'll dust your ass again, you lazy turtle. Yeah. Usopp beams, celebrating, but it's too soon as Chu comes up behind him, not impressed by the sniper's taunts. Wouldn't that be you? The one who's being lazy, I mean? He asks Usopp, standing tall over the silent statue of Usopp, and then he books it, running away from Chu again, gaining speed. Wait, Chu shouts after the cowardly sniper as he continues the chase. See, meanwhile, just outside Arlong Park, Nezuko and Genzo are underwater, trying to free Luffy. Nezuko holds Luffy while Genzo hammers the concrete block to free the rubber man's feet. They look at each other, thinking about what to do, and then remember Luffy's fight with Momo and look at each other with mouths agape. See, above the water, outside Arlong Park on the ground, Sanji gains consciousness and roots around his pocket, grabbing his cigarettes and matches. He lights his cigarette before putting it in his mouth as he looks up at the clear sky. The love cook takes a drag from his cigarette before sitting up, and the doctor turns around to see him. His mouth drops open, and he exclaims, "He's still alive, that guy. Big bro cook." Johnny and Yasoku exclaim in shock as Sanji walks towards the hole in the wall he'd made with his body. That fish bastard's punch is level 40? Then the shitty old man's kicks I always took must have been level 400? Sanji remarks, standing by the hole in the wall. See, inside Arlong Park, Zoro, still hunched over in front of Hachi, clutches his sword before concluding that he needs to continue fighting, so he grabs his dark green bandana from his arm. "What's with you? Roronoa Zoro. Why do you keep pushing yourself to go on? I don't think you can defeat me and my 6 swords as you are." "I think anyone in the world would say the same," Hachi muses as Zoro ties his bandana around his head while struggling to breathe. "Shut up. It's none of your business," Zoro snaps at him with heavy breathing. See, the villagers and bounty hunters watch the green-haired swordsman at the broken gate as he sweats before the fishman. This isn't good. Big bro's condition. Big sis Dakota isn't moving, Yosaku stutters as they watch. The fever's probably making him lose consciousness. He's delirious. The hit she took was probably fatal. If that wound opens again, he'll die without a doubt along with the girl, the doctor says harshly. But he doesn't have time to think. NY shouts. Right, if there's anyone who knows that, it's Big Bro. Yosaku yells, too, with his fists clenched. I just hope Dakota hangs on. See, I'll show you, 3 sword style. Zoro growls, glaring at the 6-armed fishman. NYU? Hachi questions, looking at him in confusion as the swordsman stands there. Yosaku, Johnny, lend me your swords. Zoro shouts back at them, keeping an eye on the octopus fishman. Of course, Big Bro. The bounty hunters shout back at him as they go to get their swords, and they see the dinks and marks on the blades, looking over at Dakota as she lies in a pool of blood with 2 swords strapped to her hips. Hang on, Big Bro. Johnny and Yosaku shout and dash over to Dakota, taking the swords from her before throwing them at Zoro. Catch, they cry and look down at her pale skin. Big Bro, here they come, don't you want to use them? The bounty hunters shout by Dakota's body as the swords continue to spin closer to Zoro as he stands still, not moving a muscle, and they roll Dakota onto her front and see her peaceful face as she lies unconscious. Ha! Now you'll see the barrier that 2-handed humans will never surpass. 6 sword style. Hachi exclaims and gets ready to cut him down. Big Bro, watch out! The bounty hunters shout as the swords almost reach Zoro from behind, spinning in the air. Octopus leg dance. Hachi yells as his arms become jelly. They wave around in front of Zoro, looming over him. Big Bro. The bounty hunters shout as the swords meet Zoro's hands, and he clutches them, swinging down with his right and dodging Hachi's blades that miss the swordsman's body. Three-sword style. Bleeding the wolf, Zoro calmly says, waiting for the hits to take effect. He hears Hachi cry out in pain as his hits meet their mark, and the remaining fishmen watch with shock and irritation as Zoro stands, breathing heavily and sweating from the fever. Got him, Yosaku shouts with excitement from Dakota's side. The 6 swords didn't touch him. Big bro's awesome, Johnny exclaims, with his partner at their role model. That takes such concentration, and persistence as well, the doctor mutters in shock, watching the scene appear before them. How could this be? Hachi questions, getting up with blood spilling out of the cuts Zoro made, and he turns around to face the swordsman. I'm really mad now, I'm going to kill you. Just think about it normally, would you? You cannot match 6 swords when you can only carry 3 yourself. Don't you get it? Hachi rages out, moving his arms around in annoyance. Normally, that's a major miscalculation, Zoro growls as he thinks of his past, his vow, and Dakota as he clutches her stolen swords. 6 swords, numbers don't matter. Zoro turns around to face Hachi. I may only have 3 swords, but yours will never be as heavy as mine, he says as he shakes from the pain. The weight is it? Now I understand. Your swords are heavier, eh? But don't think that'll help. Each of my swords weighs 300 kilograms, you know. They're much heavier and more powerful than any of your swords. You moron, he boasts stupidly. It's useless talking to an idiot, the swordsman mutters. 6 sword style. Octopus pot stance. New Year. The octopus fishman shouts, narrowing his swords towards Zoro and dashing towards Hachi, but he moves his swords to block the oncoming blades. Kite flying. Hachi backs away, then when Zoro hesitates, he headbutts straight into the green-haired man's chest, winding him. Body shredder. The force of the hit knocks Zoro flying into the air. That's dirty. Aiming for his wound, Yosaku angrily shouts at the octopus fishman's actions and flies up to meet the swordsman. Watch out, big bro. The bounty hunters call for Zoro as he gets hit and falls to the ground. Big bro's gonna be killed. Hachi runs towards the falling swordsman, swords at the ready. You won't hit the ground alive. 6 sword style, secret attack, 6 sword waltz. Hachi stands underneath the falling Zoro and moves the 6 swords in a windmill fashion, making it ultimately deadly with the spinning blades. Touch these for a second, and you're mincemeat. You don't have a chance. Hachi chuckles as Zoro falls ever closer to the circling blades below him. Big bro. Yosaku shouts, and Zoro falls toward the blades. They hear the strangled cries and the sound of the blades. The villagers and the bounty hunters watch in horror as the fishmen smirk at the scene. But it all changes when Zoro lands on his feet unharmed, and Hachi groans in pain, dropping some of his swords, and the fishmen growl in anger. Big bro. The bounty hunters shout in happiness at Zoro's safe landing while Hachi looks at his bleeding hands that the heavily breathing swordsman in front of him crouching caused. That jerk, he spun with me in the air and did somersaults on my swords. Then he cut my hands like some kind of circus trick. Quit joking around. I'm not some sideshow sword-swallowing act. Now I'm really pissed, and I'm going to destroy you. Hachi bellows, having a tantrum like a child. Zoro staggers slightly forward from the pain, and the bounty hunters watch him. Unknown to them, Dakota wiggles her fingers somewhat as she gains consciousness. Zoro narrows his eyes, thinking about Mihawk, and Hachi prepares for his next attack on the greenhead. New Year, Hachi shouts as he tightens his swords towards Zoro's back. As the octopus fishman gets closer, Zoro lifts his blades and spins around, snapping the swords in half, and the green-haired swordsman spins, sending Hachi flying up in the air. Tornado. Zoro shouts as Hachi floats in the air. The onlookers watch in either amazement or annoyance. Hachi slowly falls to the ground with the pieces of his swords floating around him as they fall towards the bottom. Hachi? Arlong mutters under his breath as he looks up at his fellow fishman, another one fallen at the hands of the Straw Hat Pirates. How? THRESW or D Street YLE, how could? Hachi ponders, falling and looking up at the sunlight that escaped the clouds. Octopus jerk, now do you understand how much heavier my swords are? You satisfied? Zoro questions as Hachi falls hard on the ground behind him with debris floating around him. Zoro collapses down on the ground with heavy breathing as his deep chest wounds affect him, and he holds his treasured sword. "I'm sorry, Octopus, but I'm not impressed. I have to hurry and rescue Luffy," he mutters, still catching his breath. "Big bro, look out!" Yosaku shouts a warning, seeing Kurubi standing over Zoro, ready to strike. "You fiend! How could you do that to Hachi?" Kurubi snaps and goes to hit Zoro, but Sanji kicks Kurubi away from the swordsman. "Bastard, yeah, you thought you'd gotten rid of me that easily, eh?" Sanji retorts casually. I didn't think there was anyone who could stand up to my punch, not in all of East Blue." He gapes slightly, looking at the beaten Sanji in front of him. "Oh, I bet you'll find plenty who could. Especially in a certain sea restaurant," the love cook replies with a smirk and a cigarette in his mouth. "You've been fooled." Kurubi growls with the air around them tense until Zoro ruins it as he tilts, moving towards the water. "Big bro, don't move." Johnny cries in worry as he watches Zoro try to crawl into the water to save Luffy. "Hey, you, in your condition, your ass is as good as dead if you go underwater," Sanji warns the injured swordsman. "Shut the hell up. He's almost done for. He can't wait for your fight to finish." Zoro snaps at the cook, needing to help Luffy for Dakota, who he thinks is dead. "Yeah, I know about that. I know there's no time left. That's why I'm stopping you. You're the one who should shut the hell up and look after Dakota." He argues with Zoro as he takes off his shoes and blazer. "So you don't complain about me doing this." He dives into the water, making Kurubi laugh at this. "Interesting. He wants to challenge a fish man in the water. I've never met a bigger fool," Kurubi chuckles in delight. "You dumbass. An underwater battle is Joel though Sanji can't hear him." Zoro shouts into the water, and Kurubi dives in after the cook. He looks over at Yosaku and Johnny as they sit by Dakota's supposedly dead body. "Why didn't I notice her before? Come on, Dakota, pull through for Luffy, Nami, and me." He slowly crawls towards Johnny and Yosaku, who watch him as he reaches for Dakota, but his wounds are too severe to move further. See, underwater, Sanji swims towards Luffy and notices Genzo pumping his captain's chest as his neck stretches out away, leading towards the surface, making him understand as he swims towards them to help. But Kurubi catches up and hits Sanji in the back of the neck with his arm. Fishman karate. Arm blade chop. Kurubi shouts underwater as the hit shocks Sanji, and he opens his mouth in pain from the blow. See, on the ground, Arlong lets out another laugh. "This is getting interesting. What do you humans intend to do next?" The onlookers watch in horror, unaware of Sanji's fate underwater, while Dakota wiggles her fingers again as she slowly regains consciousness. See, meanwhile, Usopp and Chu run after one another on the dirt path in the island's countryside. "He's so stubborn," Usopp cries as he continues to run away from the fish man not far behind him and catches up. See, underwater, Kurubi watches Genzo try resuscitating Luffy and narrows his eyes down at them. "So it's the guy from Kokoyashi village. What useless effort," Kurubi remarks, and Genzo looks up at the fishman in worry and fear. "If you're trying to extend his life, what good is it if you're going to die anyway? I'll end it right now." He goes to attack and get close, but Sanji is quick as he pulls Kurubi's ponytail back, shocking him. "You, mere human." He pulls his hair out of Sanji's grip. "You're really trying to challenge me underwater? Holding your breath with all your might, like an inferior creature would? As you wish. Let's do it, fishman karate. Hair, belt." Kurubi shouts, spinning around and letting his hair wrap around Sanji's waist, and the stingray fishman pulls at the end of his hair, making Sanji slingshot towards him as the blonde cook tries holding his breath, but he tries kicking Kurubi but misses him. "What now? Your kick is only half as powerful underwater. That's the limit of humans. But my fishman karate loses none of its power down here, on the contrary, it's twice as strong. Fishman karate. Water speed, lower abdominal kick." Kurubi kicks Sanji in the stomach, winding the love cook, making him let out the last remaining air in his lungs, and the fishman pulls at the end of the hair still around Sanji's waist and pulls the love cook towards him as he spins, drawing Sanji closer. Fishman karate. Burning iris heel stamp. Kurubi kicks Sanji over the head before swimming down to meet Sanji and kicks him in the chin. Reverse counter kick. Ultimate palm strike. Kurubi looks Sanji in the eye before striking the blonde human in the face with his palm, The force rockets Sanji towards a wall of earth and smashes hard into the rock face. Finished. Meanwhile, Genzo watches Karubi in fear, and a rumble from the impact sounds again as Sanji tries desperately to reach the surface for much needed air. But the fishman beats him towards the surface and looms over the love cook. Where do you think you're going? What amazing perseverance. Never thought a human would have any. Karubi laughs manically. See, on land, Zoro watches the water, and Yosaku feels something grab his wrist. He looks down and sees Dakota's hand gripping his wrist loosely. Dakota, Yosaku mutters, gaining Johnny's attention. They look down at her and turn their heads. They hear a gasp for air as Sanji breaks the water's surface. Oi, Zoro grumbles as Sanji climbs up next to the swordsman, both breathing heavily. Don't worry, he's okay, Sanji reports with ragged breathing. Really, half of him. Half? Tell you later. But first, get your ass out of the water. You fish freak. I still need to kick your small time ass, Sanji shouts, and Karubi climbs after him, looking just as bad as the love cook. You still don't understand, do you? It doesn't matter whether it's underwater or on land. It's still the same. You've really angered me. I'll show you the essence of fishman karate. The move that blew you out of the park was a 100 direct punch. But my special move is the 1000 direct punch. The chances of your surviving are 0. Karubi shouts but doesn't get the chance to even move as Sanji goes in for a kick to Karubi's neck. Neck? You said my chivalry was naive? Shoulder. He snaps, kicking again, this time aiming for the shoulder. That I can't protect anyone, huh? Ribs. Saddle. Chest. Legs. Sanji delivers a series of kicks at Karubi, and the villagers watch in amazement as they see the tough fishman getting kicked around, falling to the ground, and struggling to get up. Why you bastard, Karubi growls. Direct air punch. 1000D. He stops seeing or not seeing Sanji as he's sailing towards him. Mutton shot. The blonde cook shouts, kicking Karubi in the face, sending the stingray fishman through the building wall and right out the back. The crowd looks at Sanji with awe as he stands and looks over his shoulder. Guess you don't need dessert. Sanji quips, smirking and looking at his work. Arlong mutters his dear friends' names under his breath, and he looks over at them. See, in the countryside, Usopp lies in a pool of fake blood as Chu stands over him, unaware the sniper's still alive. Chu, what a handful he was, so damn fast, but it only took one blast from my water cannon to finish him off. Well, time to head back. Things should be pretty much done back there by now, Chu remarks and turns, walking back toward Arlong Park. Usopp twitches his fingers, waiting for Chu to be a safe distance from him before he gets up. He stays a little longer but lies back down, feeling Chu looking. However, he soon gets back up again and puts dirt on himself as a disguise for his cowardness. I could say, oh, so sorry, I got lost, or something. What should I say? Maybe I should go like, oh, that jerk, he got away. Nah, that'll never fly, will it? Hey, don't cry, Nami. We did our best, or, well, we each fought our hardest. Or, I was in a deadly situation, or, my wounds aren't that serious. Usopp talks to himself, rubbing in the dirt on his arms and thinks of all the people he'll be letting down that are fighting for his friend, and it weighs down on the cowardly sniper hard. Or, MIB battle, that was why. Usopp fights back the tears and stands up, turning around to face Chu. Wait right there, you fish freak. Usopp screams, making Chu stop and look over his shoulder. Oh, you're not dead yet, Chu? Chu questions in irritation. Of course not. I won't die from some stupid water cannon. He shouts at the fishman, pointing at him as the sniper turns around. Usopp rummages around his man purse for his slingshot as Chu stalks towards him. Usopp prepares to shoot at Chu as he walks towards the cowardly sniper and speeds up to a run, leaping towards the long-nosed pirate. There's no way I can laugh with them, Usopp screams, launching a smoke bomb at Chu's face, but it doesn't faze him. He rides through it and punches the sniper in the face hard, making Usopp fall to the ground as Chu flips behind him. Fool! You were better off pretending you were dead. You must be a little slow in the head. Chu quips at Usopp, walking towards the floored pirate. Is it over already? He wonders, weak from the hit, But Chu doesn't stop there as he kicks Usopp in the side. Yeah, it is. It's over. Just like you are. The fishman shouts, kicking him. It's over, huh? The cowardly sniper asks again and rummages around again for something. Usopp hammer. Usopp shouts, grabbing the hammer and swinging, hitting Chu in the face and getting on his knee with a rubber band. Usopp rubber band. Usopp sees Chu flinching at the oncoming hit and uses it to run reddening fishman. Ah, shit. How did I fall for something like that? Why that lil bastard? Chu growls, looking around for the long-nosed pirate and turning red before a bottle spins towards him. The fishman catches the bottle, unaware of Usopp's plan. Wine? Ultimate lead star. He yells, shooting at the bottle and smashing it open. The wine flies all over Chu, soaking him and making the fishman stagger back in surprise. Is this the only way you know how to fight, you inferior creature? Chu, no matter where you may hide, I'll blow you away with my water cannon. Chu growls, leaning down with his mouth to the water and begins sucking it up quickly as Usopp hides in the trees. Being stupid or cowardly has nothing to do with it, this fight. There's no way the manly Usopp can run away from it. If I lose, I die. I'm a pirate now. Usopp encourages himself as he hides among the trees. Chu finally sucks up all the water and grows larger in the stomach area. Water cannon. He shouts and releases a massive water ball at the trees before him. Usopp cowers in fear as water rains down around the sniper, and he looks over at the damage the fishman's inflicted. No way. So powerful, the cowardly, long-nosed teen marvels with bug eyes of shock and awe. Why should I have to fight with this idiot? He's so obvious. I'll blow you to pieces. 100-shot water gun. Chu growls, releasing single and deadly water shots, and Usopp hides behind a tree away from the bullet like water drops. Oh, no, how did he find me? Crap, look, Usopp pirate crew. Kaya. I went to sea to become a real pirate. I'm going to fight so I can become a brave warrior of the sea. Those lazy days and the silly pirate games are all over, Usopp screams as Chu continues to shoot water bullets but stops and kicks the tree trunk in half, making Usopp fly as Chu holds the tree. What's all over? He asks him. This battle, wine is flammable. Ultimate fiery flaming star. The pirate sniper shouts and fires a flame ball that hits the wine-soaked fishman, catching Chu on fire and making him scream in pain. As Chu shouts for water, Usopp plucks up the courage and gets his hammer again. He runs after the flaming fishman and knocks him around. Usopp hammer. Usopp hits him hard into one of the water pools and skips onto the ground. He gets up to his feet and hears Chu. Bastard, Chu growls, and Usopp runs over and repeatedly hits Chu. Usopp hammer. Usopp repeatedly screams as he hits Chu with his hammer and runs out of energy, making him fall back into the water. You see that, loser? I can do it. You see that, you jerk? Don't look down on me. Damn it. Usopp cries out to the sky, unaware of what is happening at Arlong Park with his crewmates. See, at Arlong Park, the others look at Arlong as he stands in front of Sanji, hunched over with Zoro behind him, lying on the ground, bloody. They hear a cough from the bounty hunters, stupid fish s. They hear Dakota's voice and Johnny and Yosaku's screams. They turn their heads to see Dakota standing between the weeping bounty hunters. She stands bloody with a fire in her eyes. No one stabs me and gets away with it because I come back, always, I'm the Red Devil. I kill S like you all the time. My payment will be knowing that I've made Nami smile, she says, pulling off her jacket to tug off her blood-soaked top and leaving her in a black bikini top with no wound or scar from the stabbing, just dried up blood. You're not the first fishmen I've met, so bring it. You're not the superior beings, and you're not God either. I've killed them too. So let's end this. The red-haired woman snarls and looks at Arlong as he smirks at the boys. She walks over in front of the fishman, looking up at him with a grim look. You should just give up. Your lives aren't all that important anyway. Arlong snaps, looking down at the redhead. Arlong, Nami shouts, drawing everyone's attention to her. Big sis Nami. Nami-san. Nami-chan. They cheer, looking at her with shock. Yo, Nami. I was just giving some loser pirates a demonstration of our power. What brings you here? He chuckles, not taking anything seriously, which annoys Zoro and Dakota. I'm here to kill you, she replies blankly as she stares at him under Luffy's treasured straw hat. Well, that makes things interesting, Dakota mutters and smiles, looking over at her friend and casting a look at the boys. I look over my shoulder at Nami as she stands with the villagers in shock, but she seems serious about what she's saying, and I smile before turning to look back at Arlong. Here too, kill me? Arlong repeats slowly, then barks with laughter but stops looking at Nami. You still haven't given up. How many times have you tried to kill me these past 8 years? Murder, poison, assault. Has it ever worked? He wonders, shocking the villagers' look between the fish man and Nami. You should know better than anyone else, that we can't be killed by you humans so easily. Listen, you can never kill me. And you can never run away from me, Nami. You'll remain as my cartographer. Besides, you know I've been good to you. I really hope that you'll continue the map making if possible. Arlong asks her, and I narrow my eyes at him, knowing he's messing with Nami's head. Arlong looks at her and points over at her. So, how does this sound? Because of what's happened, normally, I'd kill all of these people except you. But, if you make a decision now to return to the Arlong pirates and continue to draw maps for me, I'll spare the people of Kokoyashi. Arlong assures her, pointing down at the villagers, and I can feel them all tense up, along with Nami. But these guys won't be spared, they were too foolish. Arlong kicks Sanji to the side as he lies at our feet. I glare at the fishman for his act. So, it's your choice. If you choose me, the people of your village will be safe. Or you could choose to fight against me with these fools. But these guys you hope to count on are in such bad shape right now. I don't think there's any way to avoid this ending in tragedy. Are you my nakama? Or, are you theirs? Arlong asks Nami, and I clench my fists, feeling my nails dig into my palm. You bastard, no matter what you say, you just want to keep her. The villagers shout in protest and rage at the shark fishman. Everyone, I'm sorry. Will you die with me? Nami asks them, and I smile at her bravery. The villagers shout their agreement, not wanting to back down or have Nami pay the price. So, you wish to be slaughtered, he mutters, and suddenly, a fountain of water springs up past the wall, and I know already that it's my goofball of a brother who gains our attention. What's that? There he is, all that's left is for me to take care of the block on his feet, Sanji mumbles, and I look behind me as I see them moving about to stand. What? I get it now, Zoro mutters. Big bro Luffy, Yosaku and Johnny Beam, standing by Nami, and look over at the wall Luffy hides behind with the rest of us. I smirk and hear the clank of a sword hitting the concrete and glance at Zoro along with Sanji. 30 seconds. I can't hold on any longer than that. Zoro warns Sanji and puts his sword handle in his mouth. I see he's got the swords I stole from the bounty hunter's boat, and I look at Johnny and Yosaku with a bit of glare. That's more than enough, Sanji shouts before diving into the water, and I look down, helping Zoro to his feet. I guess I can let you borrow my swords for a little while, I jest, and Zoro looks at me but seems to be looking at my exposed chest with a slight blush. I love to make him blush. I look at Arlong as he steps towards the water, but Zoro slices his upper cheek as a warning before I can tag in. Someone tugs on my hair, and the same fishmen surround me. I grin as I look at their smirking faces, and I headbutt the one in front of me. He goes down, and I kick the guy to my side in the head, which knocks him down. I see his pal on my left, and roundhouse kicks him in the side of the head and knock him down. The next one comes at me, and I kick him up the jaw, and he goes back. They don't stay down, looking angrier than before. You bitch, the fishmen shout, getting up, but I just smirk at them as they glare at me, basking in their anger. You inferior human, one of the fishmen snaps, and I shrug my shoulders. I'm anything but inferior. I'm a successful assassin and bodyguard of this little pirate crew, so back off, fish s. I snarl at them, but they don't listen as they step towards their doom, and I sigh. Well, I warned you, I mutter, feeling the familiar mask form around my jaw and smirk, but they won't see it. I warned you boys, but you just won't listen. Aldinachi's venom staff. I feel the golden staff form in my right hand and spin it around, pointing it at the fishmen. Feel like dying? I joke and revolve it around some more. We're immune to most toxins. Arlong snaps from his place by Zoro, but he doesn't know what I do. I slice one of the fishman's arms, and the venom works fast, making him start shaking as his veins pop out of his skin. glowing a slight green as he starts choking before flopping down on the ground dead. Not this one, I snip and look at the remaining 3 fishmen. So, who's next? I'll go easy on you if you like. I let go of the staff, making it disappear along with the mask covering my face. Agramon. Ultimate fears. I snap as my eyes turn black and look at the fishman before me, smirking. I blur the surrounding area between the fishman and me. I feel my body become taller, and the space gets darker. So much fear for the dark? No, you're afraid to get sold. Well, let's begin the bidding at 1,000. I see sweat begin to trickle down the side of his face as the imaginary bidders keep shouting numbers, and then it stops. Sold for 45 million, I shout, and the fishman faints on the spot. The illusion stops, and I shift my hand, making a knife appear before I kill him. So being sold is your ultimate fear, but not enough to kill you. Well, I'll finish with that. So who's next? I grin at the remaining 2 as they come at me. The first comes with his arm out, but I jump in the air, using his arm to propel myself onto his shoulder. I sit on his shoulder, wrap my arms around his neck and squeeze tightly. The fishman puts up a fight, but I keep going. He starts choking as I squeeze harder, making it difficult for him to breathe, and he fights to get me loose, but his movements become sloppy and soon stop as he falls on the ground along with his other buddies, leaving one left. So, you gonna give up? I poke at the remaining fishman, and he doesn't back down. Guess not. I run towards him, and roundhouse kicks him in the stomach. He grabs hold of my leg before I can pull away, and he swings me around, but I pull myself up a little, grabbing hold of the fin on the top of his head. I pull myself up over his head, elbowing him for good measure, and roll off his back. He quickly turns around as I get back on my feet and gives me a series of punches to the face. I feel the hits and blood trickling down the side of my chin. The fishman goes for another punch, but I stop it with my own and go around in a circle as we try punching one another. He tries getting in a kick, but I block it with my own again. I throw a punch, and he tries blocking my hit. I flip onto my hands before propelling myself onto his shoulders and flipping him over onto the ground, causing him to pass out. I stand up from the ground, spitting out some blood still in my mouth from when I bit the inside of my cheek earlier in the fight, wiping the rest off my chin and smirking down at the last fishman. Apart from Arlong, as he's Luffy's prey. Speaking of the dummy, he comes bouncing back, floating in the sky, screaming, "I'm Baack. Rubber boy." The doctor exclaims as I walk over to them slowly, as they smile and celebrate the goofball's return. "Big bro Luffy, Luffy," they shout and cheer, and I stand by the wall between Usopp and the villagers. I look over at Arlong as he holds Zoro by the neck, and his chest wound is exposed. I go to get him, but Luffy jumps in. "Zoro!" Luffy shouts, stretching his arms and grabbing hold of Zoro, flinging him up and down. "Switch!" I look up at Zoro as he shouts, flying away, and I look over at the Dobie. "You moron!" We shout angrily. "Teleport!" I whisper and blink myself out towards Zoro. I blink behind Zoro and jump onto his back, surprising him. "Hello." Fore blinking us down behind the wall of Arlong Park and by the water steps. Zoro seems in shock as he lies on the brick steps. "I'll kill him." Zoro gasps as I watch him try to control his breathing. Well, it sounds like he's killing Arlong right now, so maybe try killing him later. I joke, picking Zoro up so he's sitting down on the steps, and I hear the fight behind us before the screams of Johnny and Yosaku. Seems heated, I mutter and jump on top of the wall to watch Luffy kick Arlong's ass and get a giggle out of it. What I see doesn't surprise me as I see Arlong biting into a stone column with Luffy pinned by his hand. The stone cracks under the pressure of his jaw, crumbling down behind them as Arlong stands there and Luffy scurries away. "Scary!" Luffy exclaims, pegging it and stopping to look back at Arlong as he turns to face Luffy. "Behold! This is the true power of fishmen. The heavens have made a distinction between us. The heavens only gave you humans enough strength to exist below us." Arlong blabs on as he walks towards Luffy and stops. "You're inferior animals. From the very moment we were born, everything was different." He gives a quick chuckle. "I'll show you just how different we really are." Luffy stands up and smiles at the fishman. "Sure, show me. But there's no way in hell I'll lose to you fish people, because I'm the man who will become the Pirate King." he yells, and the silence is tense all around us. I look down at Zoro, who seems calm now and listening to the fight. Pirate King? Don't make me laugh. You think a mere human like you can become someone like that? Can you bite through that column with your powers? The shark fishman asks, thinking it's relevant, as he picks up a chunk of stone and continues to catch and throw it on the spot while he talks. So what? Don't try showing off, with things that don't matter, my baby brother snaps as he punches the stone next to him. It crumbles, and he looks over at Arlong with his fist raised. I can break that column without having to bite it. Oh, well said, big bro Luffy. You got it. In the end, the result's the same. Yosaku cheers on the sidelines. You're so stupid. The whole human race is pathetic. You can't even save yourself in the ocean. You can't do anything. Arlong shouts and lunges towards Luffy for another bite. Luffy dodges out of the way, stretches his arm to some swords by a fallen fishman, and picks them up. And when I can't do anything, I have others to help me, Luffy shouts, getting in Arlong's face with the swords in hand and swinging them around haphazardly. Dumbass, he's going to cut himself again, I sigh, watching him continue to swing the swords. Take that, and that, and that, he yells, swinging the swords around without aiming them. What the hell are you doing now? Arlong questions as he dodges the blades. You're just waving them around. Luffy continuously swings them around as the shark fishman moves his head back to the side, cutting off Luffy's swing. The movement plucks the sword from my baby brother's hand and goes flying. I'm not interested in fooling around with you. Luffy swings the remaining sword as he does. Arlong lunges slightly, and it goes to his mouth. The top of the blade cuts off and goes spinning away before Arlong bites down on the rest of the edge and cracks it with a big smirk on his face. This is boring. Then eat this, Luffy shouts, swinging at the shark fishman and hitting him in the lower jaw hard enough to make Arlong move. Even his teeth break under pressure. Arlong's teeth broke. The crowd exclaim in shock as Arlong lies on the ground, shaking, probably in rage. Of course I don't know a damn thing about swords, you dumbass, he shouts, seeming proud almost of that fact. I hear Zoro grunting behind me and look down as he ties his bandana around his upper arm with a struggle. You should be careful. You can make yourself worse if you keep moving, I warn him, and Zoro looks up at me as I look down at him from the top of the wall. I'm fine. Zoro grunts, and I turn back to the fight. I don't know how to navigate either. I can't cook. I can't even lie. I know that I need others to help me if I want to keep on living, Luffy shouts, and Arlong lets out a laugh. You sure are useless, how pitiful. And such a pathetic guy as their captain. They must really resent you. Why should they risk their lives to save someone like you, someone they can't be proud of? Why should you be their captain? What can you do? Arlong asks him as he stands up with his webbed hand covering his mouth. I can beat the crap out of Ya, he declares. I narrow my eyes at my baby brother, sending waves of encouragement. If you get yourself killed, I'll kill you, Zoro vows, and I agree. As for the audience, they cheer on Luffy. Shut up. You've got to be joking, weakling, the shark fishman shouts and spits his old teeth out, and a new set immediately grows. Eh? His teeth grow back? Luffy exclaims in surprise. Because I'm a shark, Arlong states as they stand facing each other. My teeth will grow back over and over, with stronger ones every time. He pulls out his new teeth with his bare hands. However many times, another set grows in their place, and Arlong yanks that out, too. As many times as I need. This is a trait that the heavens have given to me. Cool, he exclaims in amazement after staring at the show. Are you beginning to understand just how superior I am? The shark fishman asks and uses his extra teeth as castanets. Twist gum. He lunges with them and goes for Luffy, but he dodges out of the way and keeps dodging as Arlong keeps trying to take a bite out of him. Whoa, stop that! Our captain shouts and grabs Arlong's right arm, trying to stop him. It doesn't work as Arlong goes down, hitting Luffy continuously while the others gasp in horror. Luffy switches himself for a fishman lying on the ground to shield himself. Arlong-san, it hurts. The fishman whimpers and Arlong pulls away to reveal his bleeding face and looks on in horror at his work. My kinsman. Arlong stutters, and Luffy lets him lie back on the ground, sighing. Why you, rubber bastard, how dare you use one of my kinsmen as a shield? Arlong becomes angry as Luffy stands there. What are you talking about? You're the one who attacked him. Luffy deflects, honestly. Stand still, rubber bastard. He snaps his teeth at Luffy, which makes him smirk. Hey, I just thought of a good idea. My baby brother states, and I hunch over in defeat and put my hands on my head as I watch Arlong strike at Luffy again, and he dodges in time. Twist gum. The shark fish man shouts, striking at Luffy, but Arlong keeps missing when my baby brother smashes his foot down on the concrete, cracking it before kicking Arlong on the side of the head. Arlong goes to the ground, and his teeth fly out as he lands, skidding away. They came out. Luffy cheers to himself, and Arlong rises back up. Idiot, I told you that it doesn't matter how many times you break my teeth. Don't you get it yet? Arlong shouts at Luffy as his teeth grow back, but Luffy doesn't listen. Look, now I have him too. He announces with Arlong's teeth in his mouth, snapping away as he talks. I figured he'd do something stupid like that, Zoro grumbles, and I look down at him, agreeing with his statement. It's just like Luffy to do that, and look at his injured self. I feel guilty that I can't help my baby brother much. How long do you intend to keep fooling around? Arlong snaps and lunges at Luffy, cutting him with his teeth castanets on the shoulder. Ah, I was bit by a shark. Luffy screams in pain. I feel myself having to fight not to move and help my baby brother as he wails around in pain for a few seconds and looks over at Johnny and Yosaku as they shout at him, but Arlong interrupts, going in for another strike. The shark fish man continues his assault, and Luffy keeps dodging again, but he can't counterattack just yet, moving out of one of Arlong's strikes and looking at the fish man as he lies on the ground. Feeling it crumble under the pressure as I grip tighter as Arlong uses his teeth castanets to bite into Luffy's stomach. Luffy sits up as he shouts in pain and bites into Arlong's shoulder, making him let go, and throws Luffy away to hold onto their injured areas. How's that? Getting bit by your own teeth? Luffy asks and tries to laugh like Arlong. Even if they are mine, your jaw's far too weak. Listen, sharks tear flesh and limbs from the body of its prey. That's what a shark's true power is. Arlong boasts and strikes again, but with his mouth. Luffy tries to block him, but the shark fish man bites down on Luffy's elbow. No, Big Bro's bones will be broken. Yosaku shouts in horror, and I break a piece of the wall off. I wish I could do something, I mutter. Luffy won't accept anyone's help, you know that, Zoro argues, grunting as he tries moving. Luffy! Nami shrieks in horror as we watch Luffy shout out in pain while Arlong bites further into my baby brother's elbow. I feel hopeless and it reminds me of 10 years ago with him. Arlong keeps digging further in, and Luffy grabs hold of the back of Arlong's head and lifts his leg into the air. Our captain uses the momentum as his leg pulls Arlong down onto the hard concrete ground. The force of the hit makes Arlong let go of Luffy's elbow and roll away to kneel on the floor near Arlong. Everyone mutters when Arlong gets up, rubbing the back of his head. Luffy pries Arlong's teeth from his flesh, and the shark fish man quietly enters the water before him. Huh? Where is he? Luffy questions, standing up to look around. Luffy, in the water. Nami yells at him as a warning. The water? Oh, a shark, he gapes, spotting Arlong's dorsal fin poking up in the water and approaching him and then away. That's Arlong, dummy, Usopp shouts at our captain from his hiding spot. I look over as Arlong swims along the surface, but he dives out of sight, meaning he's readying for an attack. Huh, he dove down. Is he running away? Luffy asks, trying to look into the water, but it doesn't matter as Arlong darts out of the water with quick speed towards Luffy and torpedoes into the top of the building, and Luffy goes flying and lands on his face. Oh, you dodged that well. But dodging is just dodging. The next one will send you to hell, Arlong says, standing in the hole he made and goes for another hit. Shark on darts. He lunges down on Luffy's nose first, but again, Luffy dodges the blow as Arlong's pointed nose sticks out and cracks and crumbles the concrete around him. Shark on darts. He shouts from the dust cloud and lunges again for Luffy, who dodges out of the way, but Arlong turns around and goes for him again too quickly, and Luffy goes flying up with a scream, giving the shark fish man enough time to go back into the water as Luffy falls back down. Hey, Luffy! Hide! Usopp shouts at him as Luffy gets back up. He went back into the water. Big bro, hurry and hide. He's gonna attack again. Yosaku and Johnny shout in, too. Run! He screams out of fear, but I know Luffy won't listen to them. No, Luffy refuses, gritting his teeth, and I smile at his bravery and standing there. What are you saying, you moron? You want to just stand there and be an easy target? Go and hide. Sanji shouts back at Luffy, but it won't change his mind. No, I'm gonna break that nose of his. Bring it on, Sharky, he shouts, standing ready for Arlong's next attack. What part of hiding do you not understand, Luffy? You just got lucky before and barely dodged it. But if he hits you this time, you're doomed. Usopp shouts in fear for Luffy. But my baby brother tunes him out as he always does with these sorts of things. Come on, Luffy. Kick his ass, I whisper shout, but I know Zoro hears me. I look down as he seems to be struggling and kneel down next to the swordsman. Balbereth. Heal the wound, I mutter, letting my hands glow as I slow the bleeding and feel sharp pain across my chest. What are you doing? Zoro asks me as he watches, and I stop, unable to go further. You would have bled out if I hadn't, I snap at him from the pain in my chest. Thank you, he whispers, looking me in the eye. You're welcome, I whisper back, moving away to continue watching Luffy. Gum gum. Shield, Luffy shouts as he stretches his fingers out in front of him. What's that stance? Yosaku asks his partner. Does he really think that'll stop him? Johnny questions when Arlong darts out of the water towards Luffy and seems to hit him. Stabbed. The bounty hunting duo cries in shock and horror, but it's short-lived as Luffy seems to have caught Arlong with his stretched fingers and jumps, using the roof to propel him up. What? Is he dead? Usopp shouts out in worry as we watch. No, he got away in time. Sanji shouts back as Luffy jumps away and lands on the top wall of the building. I stopped your lil trick, so I guess you can't use it anymore. Luffy shouts down, but Arlong isn't listening. Shark on darts. Arlong shouts as he jumps up and through the roof towards Luffy, who jumps away and falls towards the water as Arlong hands on the top roof, looking down. You dork, haven't you used enough of that? He questions as he falls. You're finished. The shark fish man shouts and dives down towards Luffy's nose first. Take this. My baby brother shouts and moves his hands behind his head. Gum gum. Net. Luffy loops his fingers together and captures Arlong. Fishing. Let's fish. Arlong pings back in front of Luffy as he retracts his arms and fingers and spins in the air, moving his feet together. He continues to spin, building momentum. And now, spear. He strikes Arlong to the ground with force and retracts his legs back as debris clouds float around the fallen fishman. He did it. Good job. The crowd cheers. Oh? Is he dead? Luffy wonders, falling towards Arlong when he bounces up with wild eyes and swipes at the rubber idiot. You inferior human. Arlong snaps, grabs hold of Luffy and swings him around above his head. How did you do this to me? A fishman? The shark fishman throws our captain at the wall, which breaks under pressure. The clouds disperse, and Luffy is covered in debris and soon sits upright with pieces of stone falling away. Man, that shook me up. I don't think he's hurt, but he sure is angry. Luffy states as Arlong lunges at him, hand out, ready to grab, but the rubber boy dodges as Arlong's fist goes through the stone wall, and Luffy moves it up, seeming to grab something from inside. The shark fishman pulls out a weapon I've had on my wish list for years but could never get. A shark saw or saw-shaped sword. What's that? Luffy asks, looking at the giant sword. Kirabachi. Nami gasps in horror at the sword. With huge teeth, Johnny exclaims in horror, and Arlong jumps towards Luffy at the roof, who jumps onto the next roof away as he takes up pieces of tile. The shark fishman goes for another swing, jumping up towards Luffy, who dodges out of the way. More clouds float around as Arlong and Luffy dodge and swing at each other, getting towards the top. Big bro Luffy. Run. Watch out. The bounty hunters and the rest of the crowd shout in a panic. He won't stop. There's no way out of this, the doctor says, and Arlong jumps in front of Luffy and pushes him through a window, smashing through sight. They went inside, Sanji states the obvious. That room is, Nami mumbles, but enough for my sensitive ears to pick up as everyone waits for the outcome. Once the two are inside, it's quiet. All I can pick up is mumbles as Arlong talks and a few choice words, but that's it when I hear something metallic in nature break from inside. What's going on in there? Someone in the crowd asks in worry. Damn it. What's happening to you? Big bro Luffy. Yosaku panics as we all wait with silent breaths for anything. We have no way of knowing what's going on. Johnny adds to his partner's worry. Luffy, Nami mumbles as we watch closely on the top floor of Arlong Park. I zone in a little and hear Arlong laugh when a smash cod something breaks through the stone wall. A desk flies out, startling everyone. What's that? Yosaku shouts in fear but notices what it is. A desk? Sanji questions and points them out along with Usopp. It's a desk. Oh, it's just a desk, Johnny says, and the two let out the breath they were holding. That scared me. I was afraid that it was gonna be Big Bro Luffy or something. Yosaku sighs in relief. Hey, partner, don't you have faith in Big Bro Luffy's strength? He asks his partner. But Johnny, you were surprised too. The green-coated man defends himself. Dumbass, I was sure that it was Arlong, of course. The blue jacket man tries defending himself, stuttering all over the place. See, you're so full of it, Yosaku snaps at his partner. What did you say? Like I said. Johnny snaps back but gets cut off as more of the upper room is thrown out along with some of the wall and crashes down, breaking into pieces with more coming out right after. Papers scatter in the air as they come out next. One moves past. It's a map. We all wait for the next hit, and it's Luffy's leg stretching up high, breaking through the top of the building. Luffy's leg crashes down, and the force hits something all the way down to the bottom of the building. Dust clouds fly out of every opening as we all watch in awe at the sight, and the flag post comes tumbling down, breaking on impact. The surrounding area begins to shake as the building crumbles from all the hits it's taken in the last hour. Everyone starts panicking as they watch. Look, that last attack is causing Arlong Park to. No way. It's collapsing, everyone, run. The crowd shouts and runs for cover as it breaks and crumbles apart. Big sis Nami, hurry. Johnny shouts, grabbing hold of Nami to pull her to safety. But Luffy's still in there, Nami protests, trying to fight him. Big sis. But Luffy is, she protests, but it's too late as the building finally crashes. Luffy. Nami screams out, but I know he'll be okay. I hope you'll be okay. I sigh as the fall creates a wind that knocks me down next to a snoozing Zoro, and I get up to look around the wall as the dust clouds all settle when a piece of the wall cracks off and falls on Zoro's head, waking him up. Ouch. What the hell? Damned noisy, Luffy. Zoro snaps and looks at me as I turn back to see what happened to the goofball. Everything is quiet as everyone hangs on, mumbling among themselves, waiting to see what the outcome is. The clouds part, letting the sun shine down on the destroyed Arlong Park, and out springs the winner. Luffy, big bro. The bounty hunters cheer, and I sigh in relief as I watch him catch his breath and inhale quickly. Nami, you're my nakama, Luffy screams, and I look over at Nami to see tears running down her face as she agrees, and I can't help the smile that takes over. We won. Johnny and Yosaku cheer and the villagers join in. Arlong Park has fallen. I pull Zoro by his shirt up into my arms, holding him bridal style, which causes him to protest and try getting out of my arms. I teleport us to the crowd and drop him as I watch the villagers throw Luffy into the air in celebration and walk over to Usopp and Sanji. Man, you had me worried there for a bit. Be quicker next time, you bastard. Sanji jests, but I know the feeling. Tell me about it. I thought I'd have to step in. I add with a small laugh as I stand next to him as we watch Luffy get thrown around. I look over to see Nami walk over and stand watch as well when Luffy drops to the ground, but he just laughs it off. Awesome. Luffy chuckles, sitting upright, and Nami gives him his hat back. Our captain looks up at the strawberry blonde woman and jumps to his feet before they high-five. And we can't help but laugh, but it doesn't last long. That's enough, bags, a voice shouts, cutting off the celebrations. I look over to see a horde of Marines. Not him. A villager snaps in disgust, clearly recognizing the rat-faced captain. Well, this must be my lucky day. Nice work. I enjoyed the show, but I never would have thought that these fishmen would be defeated by the likes of you silly pirates. But thanks to you, Arlong's bounty, as well as all of Arlong Park's riches, will be mine. Everyone, put down your weapons. I, Captain Nezumi, of the Marines 16th Battalion, will be taking over from here. The Marine captain lets out a strangled scream as Zoro grabs the back of his neck. "Zoro!" Usopp cries. "Don't spoil the mood when people are trying to celebrate," Zoro warns the Marines. "And we get to beat them up quickly and leave them a bruised mess on the ground. If you dare hit me one more time, I won't let you live," Captain Nezumi stutters out from the top of the pile. "You're still talking," Sanji huffs as we look down at them, and Nami walks over and crouches at Nezumi's level. "This is for shooting Nijiko, and for messing up Belmir's tangerine grove," Nami calmly tells him, and she stands up, swinging her bow staff at his face. The force of the hit makes him skid across the water. "Captain!" a Marine shouts to him. "Thanks, Nami. That was satisfying." Nijiko winks at her, tilting her head to the side. "And there's 1,000 more where that came from, jerk," Genzo shouts in rage next to Nijiko. And Nami walks over to the water's edge as Captain Nezumi climbs out. She grabs his freaky whiskers and pulls at them painfully. "Now, you guys will take care of cleaning up after the fishmen, and help reconstruct Gosa village. But you will not touch even the slightest bit of the fishmen's riches. They belong to the people of this island. Understand?" Nami instructs him, continuing to pull at his whiskers painfully. "Ow, ow, I'll do as you say," Captain Nezumi agrees reluctantly. "And one more thing, give me back my money," she demands. "I'll give it back, honestly. I don't want it anymore," he replies with tears falling in fear, and we send them packing, and the Marines speed off. "This won't be forgotten. You lousy pirates, Straw Hat, guy. The name's Luffy, right? You're the captain, aren't you? Don't forget this. You're gonna be big. After messing with me, too late for amends now, I'll make you sorry. Mark my words." Nezumi shouts as they retreat, and I throw a rock at his head, making him fall into the water again. "Dumbass," I grumble as I watch him splutter up water. "He said we're gonna be big," Sanji comments as we watch the Marines disappear. "How'd he know I was gonna be the Pirate King?" Luffy questions in confusion. "He wasn't talking about that, you numbskull," Zoro snaps at our dumbass captain. "What do we do now?" Usopp panics in fear of the unknown. "If we become notorious, what'll happen to us? What do we do? Huh? Hey, everyone, we can't just celebrate this by ourselves. Carry the news to the whole island," the doctor shouts, and they cheer in agreement before running off. Luffy stopped touching Zoro. I lightly snap and laugh with the others as Zoro glares at the rubber idiot. "So how'd it go with you, Usopp? Is he still looking for you?" Sanji asks, looking at the long-nosed snipper. "No, I took him down easy, I got him good, I threw some wine at him, then I used my special attack to set him on fire. Then it went, kaboom," Usopp boasts. "We did well in the end, right?" Luffy laughs. "See?" Third POV. At the nearest Marine base, Captain Nezumi rushes into the communications room to report loudly down the line. "Hello? Hello? Yes, Marine headquarters, here." The voice on the other side announces calmly. "Marine headquarters, hello. This is the 16th Battalion, Captain Nezumi, Marine code number 00733. I have a report to make." Nezumi keeps shouting down the line. "No need to yell. We can hear you," the man on the line tells him calmly. "Listen up. There's a pirate who wears a straw hat, called Luffy. He and his 5 accomplices are all against the government," he shouts. "See, on the other side, a Marine sitting at his desk writes down the name, Luffy," he mumbles as he writes. "See, they were a Blair can defeat the fearsome Arlong and his fishmen. We must beware of them. I wish to place a heavy bounty on the head of their captain. Straw Hat Luffy, I'm sending his picture," Nezumi announces and then looks behind him as his subordinate gives him 2 pictures. "And another we found along with him, she seems familiar." See, on the other side, the pictures come through, and the Marine looks shocked at the photographs he's seeing. "See, what's this? Couldn't you find a better picture?" Nezumi demands, degrading his subordinate. "Not really, this is all we got." The Marine soldier replies with his head down. "The authenticity of the bounty will be reviewed later. After we send it to the higher-ups," the Marine replies carefully, hoping Nezumi will forget about the other picture. "You got it? He is a villainous pirate? I want him dead or alive. I want a high bounty on his head." Nezumi shouts but stops, pausing for a second. "What about the girl with the red hair?" he asks, looking at the picture in front of him. "We caution you with her, it's the Red Devil, Dakota LaRue, daughter of red-haired Shanks and a notorious assassin. The Marine replies, and this causes Nezumi's eyes to widen, and he lets out a yelp of fear. We advise caution, we'll let all of the Marines close by know about her whereabouts. Everyone is cheering around us as we stand in the crowded streets of the village. I stay by Luffy as I'm avoiding seeing to my injuries, and at the moment, Luffy is stuffing his face full of food as a villager stands on top of one of the buildings shouting down to the growing crowd. Everyone, we're gonna dance and celebrate, Arlong Park has fallen. We've been living for this day for 8 years. We've been living to rejoice upon this day. We've been living to rejoice upon this day. The crowd all cheer in agreement. It's nice to see all these people so happy as they dance, sing, eat and party around us. Tomorrow and the next, let's part until we drop. The crowd cheers again, and Luffy continues to stuff his face, picks up a plate with meat on, and shoves the whole thing in his rubber mouth, but it gets stuck halfway down his throat. Luffy begins to turn green, and I smack him on the head. He swallows hard, allowing the plate and meat to move down into his rubber stomach. He looks around the table with a giddy grin. Meat? Isn't there any more? Luffy exclaims, and I sigh. Looking around, what's wrong? Are you still in pain? He asks me, and I look at him. I can still feel the pain from when that fish man stabbed me, but the scar is gone. It must have hit something vital inside. It'll heal in a few days, I tell him, looking over as Sanji sits over Wei smoking. Sis, you need to get checked out, Luffy tells me, getting serious, and I nod, not happy about a stranger rummaging around inside my stomach. Fine, I'll get it sorted, I promise, but I'm not happy about this. I lie to him, pointing my finger at him. He shrinks back, knowing he's pushing me. I'll be back later, try not to eat everything. He nods, but I know it's empty, and I walk away towards Sanji and hear Zoro shouting in pain, and I open the door. One Piece. Arlong Park arc. I walk inside the doctor's office to see Zoro lying on the bed with the doctor over him, stitching him up, with the bounty dummies snoozing in the beds next to him. Fool! You tried to handle an injury this serious by yourself? The doctor scolds Zoro as he grunts in pain, and I walk around the bed to see the doctor stitching him up. It hurts, Zoro cries out, and I take his hand in mine. He seems to notice as he looks at me and focuses only on me. He grunts every once in a while, but the pain seems to lessen. Are you guys really pirates? Don't you have a doctor on your ship? He asks us, and I have to agree with him. A doctor? Not a bad idea. Luffy says as he stands at the open window with more food in his hand. Luffy, Zoro mumbles, looking overhead at our captain. But we need a musician first, right Zoro? Luffy asks his first mate, and I shake my head at my baby brother's small-mindedness. Because pirates love to sing. Don't you know? Luffy just says, and I look at Zoro, who is in pain and sigh, squeezing his hand. So, why is that more important? Zoro demands. But Luffy ignores him and turns to look at the stunned doctor. I crouch down level with Zoro and smile. Hey, doctor, where's Nami? I don't see her anywhere. Luffy asks him, pointing the meat at him. Nami, huh? Well, if she's not here, then she must be there. The doctor comments, and I look back at Zoro as he stitches him back up. Don't forget to sort out sis, Luffy tells them. I snap my head up to look at him. Luffy, I hiss at him. He looks at me with the same lost look he always does, sneaky git. That guy stabbed you in the stomach. You said it hurt. Luffy retorts, and I shake my head in defeat. So, it's happened before, he must have got something inside, it'll take a few days to heal. I tell him, and I feel both the doctor's and Zoro's stares. You promised. Luffy replies, and I glare at him, knowing he's right. Fine, do you mind, doctor? I ask him as he finishes up on Zoro. Go sit down on that bed over there, and I'll get to you in a second. He tells me, and I nod, stepping away to the empty bed behind me and sitting down in just a bikini top. I grunt in pain as the doctor stitches up my liver. It got sliced when I was stabbed. I look over at Zoro, who holds my hand as I did for him. I look him in the eye as I feel the doctor stitch my skin, though, in an hour, it'll heal over wholly thanks to my devil fruit. No drinking for a few days. Your liver won't be able to take it. The doctor informs me, and I have to say, I'm still drinking, but I nod my head in fake agreement. No drinking, got it. I lie and get up from the bed. I need some change of clothes. I mutter under my breath as Zoro helps me to my feet. One Piece. Arlong Park arc. The party has been going on for the last 3 days, and Zoro and Luffy have so far stopped me from drinking, but now I can, and I must say, I am tipsy. My alcohol tolerance has gone way down. I stagger around, trying to find somewhere to sit, when I spot Zoro sitting in one of the alleyways with his eyes closed, seeming relaxed. I swing around and sit next to him. Zoro pops an eye open as I lean against his shoulder, looking up at him with a smile, then look away as I feel my cheeks heat up. My hair covers part of my face, hiding my blush. Zoro, are you feeling any better? I ask him, brushing my hair from my face behind my ear. Could be better, he replies, and I smile at him, knowing how he's feeling, and move closer to him. My cardigan pops open, showing my black lace jumpsuit top and my chest. I feel his gaze on me, and I smile. I hear Usopp singing in the background one of his songs. Wanna dance? I ask him, grabbing his hand. He looks at me, and I feel the rejection coming. Why not? He agrees, and I can't help the grin that spreads across my face as I pull him out onto the street with the other dancing couples. I place my arms around his neck as we swing to our own beat and look into his eyes. One Piece. Arlong Park arc. Zoro's POV. I can't take my eyes off Dakota as she swings her hips. I feel her arms around my neck. I place my arms around her waist as we sway to our own beat. And I smile up at her as she's slightly taller than me, but I can't help this turning feeling inside my stomach as I look into her purple eyes, and see the blush on her cheeks from her drinking. I just look at her as she swings from side to side and looks into my eyes, and it feels like it's just us. I've never noticed you have brown eyes, Dakota comments and looks into my eyes, and I smirk. We haven't known each other that long, I remark, and she nods. True, but I feel like I've known you longer than anyone else besides Luffy on our crew, she says, and I can't help but agree. I feel the same, I tell her, and she hides her face in my neck. For a swordsman, you have some rhythm, she teases me, and I let out a hearty laugh, and we continue dancing. One Piece. Arlong Park arc. Third POV. All across Kokoyashi village in the streets, people sleep along the path. Usopp still atop the tower of tables, unconscious, spewing nonsense as everyone sleeps. Sanji sleeps with several women leaning against him near a house. The bounty hunter duo curling around each other with bottles of booze between them on the ground. And finally, Usopp drops to the surface sleeping. Dakota and Zoro sleep in one of the alleyways, snuggling into each other as they sleep. A blanket around them as Zoro snores loudly, not bothering the sleeping woman beside him. One Piece. Arlong Park arc. Dakota's POV. I yawn, thinking about the last 3 days of partying as I stand in my denim dungarees and black and white striped top and Converse, hugging my precious weapons with Sanji and Luffy finally aboard the Going Merry as Zoro climbs up the ladder with the last crate of supplies and passes it to Usopp. This is the last one, right? Usopp asks as he hauls the container over the side. Yup, Zoro says as he hops over the side onto the deck. Everything's on board, Luffy asks Usopp as he packs the last crate away. Yeah, Usopp answers as he places the crate down with the rest. Alright, then. They've stocked us with food. Looks like we're ready. Sanji comrade from his cigarette. We've only been here a few days, but I feel like we've made so many memories on this island. Why, no? Usopp says, and I can't help but agree as I look over at Zoro. Yeah, Luffy giggles, and I laugh, cuddling my weapons to my chest. Big bros, big sis, thanks. We owe you all so much. We're going back to our normal jobs as bounty hunters. Yasaku announces. I walk over to the side to look down to see them posing. We'll bid our farewells for now, but hopefully we'll meet again one day, Johnny says, and they almost look like they're trying to stop themselves from crying. Take care, alright. Zoro calls down to them. You too, big bro, the boys shout up. Alright, let's get going too, Usopp yells, turning around with his thumb up. Hey, wait a minute. What about Nami-san? Sanji questions, looking around, startled. I thought she wasn't coming, Zoro comments, looking over his shoulder. Why not? Sanji demands, stomping over. Bastard, you said something rude to her again, didn't you? Why would I do that? Zoro asks as Sanji gets in his face. Why else? Sanji counters with jealousy. I see, that's true, he's got a point, Usopp comments. You're trying to get in the way of me and Nami-san's true love, Sanji blabbers on. I'm good if he doesn't say my name. She doesn't have a reason to be a pirate anymore, I add, putting my weapons down by my bags. She'll be happier if she stayed here. Usopp agrees. Are you stupid or something? Zoro asks Sanji, looking away in annoyance. What did you say? Sanji demands, getting in his face angrily. What about my happiness? If Nami-san doesn't get on board, I lose 49.36% of my reason to be here. Sanji rages, and I can guess what the rest is. Hey, you know I never found that Namu-hama melon. Luffy points his finger at Sanji as if that has anything to do with what Sanji is upset about. What did you say? This catches our attention as I look over the side to see Nejico, the doctor and Genzo talking when Sanji bumps into me as he rushes over next to me, screaming in joy. I follow his gaze to see Nami standing at the edge. Nami-san! Sanji screams, in my ear, along with others. Start the ship out. Nami shouts over the cries of the villagers, and she starts making a break for it. Huh? What's up with her? She started running? Usopp questions as all look over as she runs. She said to set sail, Luffy announces, and we look at him in shock. But, Usopp tries to say. Wait, does she plan on leaving without hearing our thanks and appreciation? Genzo exclaims in shock, setting off the rest of the villagers. Lower the sail. Luffy orders us, Usopp and I, to loosen the ropes and let the sail roll down as Zoro lifts the anchor, and we begin to float away from the dock, startling the others below. Hey, you sure you want to let her leave this way? Sanji asks Luffy, having calmed down. It's alright. It's her decision. Luffy replies as we watch Nami reach the crowd, and she zigzags through them, not letting them stop her. She gets to the end of the dock quickly, running right past Nejico and the doctor as they call her name, and jumps off the edge towards the end of the ship. She makes the landing and jumps again onto the dock with the rest of us. For a second, she stands there, then lifts her top, and dozens of wallets and purses fall out. I shake my head at her behavior with a grin as she kisses a note. Take care, everyone, she shouts, looking behind her now a safe distance from the angry villagers. You little brat. The villagers shout their goodbye, and I giggle behind my hand at their antics as I walk down the stairs. Oi, she hasn't changed a bit. Usopp comments. Who knows when she'll turn on us again? Zoro mutters as they both glare at her, and I look down the stairs at Sanji and Luffy. Nami-san, good, Sanji exclaims, and Luffy lets out a joyous laugh. You lil thieving cat. Come back here with my wallet. You bad girl, come back anytime. Take care. Thank you so much. The villagers all shout out to us as we sail away. Boy! Genzo shouts out to Luffy. Don't you dare forget our promise. I look at Luffy in wonder and shake my head as he gives him a thumbs up. Goodbye. Everyone, I'm off. Nami shouts her goodbye, waving her arms around. Come on, navigator, we need a heading. I comment from the main deck as I lift my weapons and bags into my arms and walk into the room Nami and I share. One Piece. Logue Town Arc. It's been a few days since we left Kokoyashi village, and nothing exciting has happened. We're having a lazy day. Nami is sitting in a deck chair by the rear with Usopp sorting his arsenal out while Zoro naps by the stairs and Sanji and Luffy are in the ship orchard Nami brought with her. I sit in my black crop top and short dungarees and pumps, sitting by Zoro, playing with my deck of cards, when the newspaper bird swoops and hands Nami hers. They raised the price again. She demands, looking at the bird who has no answer. Don't you think that's a little too high? Why you? Nami grumbles, but she still pays the fee, a greedy kid. Next time the price is raised, I won't buy it. Here, she warns the bird, and it flies away. Geez, it's just a newspaper, Usopp complains as he fixes some of his pellets. But if you get it all the time, it adds up, Nami complains back, raising her hands in the air. Well, you don't have to save up to buy your village from Arlong anymore, so why keep worrying about money? Usopp asks her and turns his head, and she turns to face him. Dummy. That's exactly why, she snaps at him. I don't have that obligation anymore, so from now on, it's all for myself. She cheers with a big grin on her face. I can't go around being some kind of cheapskate pirate, can I? Hey, keep it down. Usopp snaps at her, stopping with his whatever he's doing. I'm in the middle of formulating my Tabasco star. Here, he carefully moves the bottom closer. With this, if I shoot it into the enemy's eyes. Suddenly Luffy is knocked back into Usopp. He blinks for a second when he screams in pain from his eyes as the Tabasco sauce goes in. What? Come on, just one? Luffy asks Sanji, sticking his tongue out. Never, this is Nami-san's tangerine grove. I won't allow you to lay a finger on it. Nami-san, the security guard of love is on duty, Sanji exclaims, and I shake my head at their antics. Thank you, Sanji-kun, Nami replies, not even looking at him. She uses him like a fool, that dork Sanji. Zoro snides as he awakes from his little nap from Usopp's screams of pain. Leave the little love cook. I joke and look up at him with a smirk. He looks at me with a smile. What the hell? It's just one little tangerine. Stingy Sanji. Luffy grumbles and sticks his tongue out at our cook as he sits on the bench with Usopp on the floor, covering his eyes with a wet cloth. I said no, Sanji snaps at Luffy, and I walk up the steps to see Nami reading the newspaper. Oh well, whatever. I'm in a good mood. Luffy laughs it off with a big grin. The world's in such chaos right now. There was another coup d'etat in Villa. Nami mutters as she reads the paper, flipping through the pages when two pieces slip between the sheets and float in front of Luffy's face. A flyer? He questions as they float about. I walk over as it settles on the floor. I cover my grin as I see what the two pieces of paper are. Bounty posters, new ones, while the others let out screams of excitement and fear. One Piece. Logue Town Arc 3rd Pav. In the quiet syrup village, at the large mansion at the top, Mary breaks the silence by running through the parlor to the main staircase. Mistress Kaya, mistress, Mary calls out as he runs up the stairs to her study, opening the door to find her writing at her desk. She looks up at Mary's arrival. What's the matter, Mary? She asks him, and he holds the two bounty posters with Luffy and Dakota's faces. Please, look, Mary cries, and she gets up from her seat, taking off her glasses, looking over the posters, and her eyes, she cries out, causing Mary to be confused as he turns the posters to face him and spots the back of Usopp's head in Luffy's photo. That back profile is definitely Usopp. It does seem to be, yes, he agrees, looking at Luffy's poster closer as Kaya turns around towards the window and opens it, imagining Usopp sitting there waiting for her, but she's not totally disappointed. Usopp is pursuing his dream. I'm studying to become a doctor so that I can help people. My dream and Usopp's dream, the day when they'll meet again and become one, will arrive someday. I'm sure of it, Kaya dreams aloud. One Piece. Logue Town Arc in Shells Town. Inside one of the hallways at the Marine base, Kobe stands at the bounty board in front of Luffy's with Dakota's next. At last, Luffy is moving on with his dream. Kobe exclaims as he holds onto his mop handle, remembering the fight against the former Captain Morgan. But, the next time we meet, we may be enemies. One Piece. Logue Town Arc. Down in the cells below the Marine base, where the former captain sits in his cell, one of the Marines walks down the stairs towards the prison and holds up the rolled-up bounty. He unrolls it to show it's Luffy's bounty poster. Morgan's eyes widen at the sight of the boy who sent him to this prison as the Marine snickers at his reaction. One Piece. Logue Town Arc. Out in the ocean, the Black Cat pirates sail, and the newspaper arrives. One of the crews opens the paper and pulls out two bounty posters. Captain, he shouts as he runs off to show Kuro. One Piece. Logue Town Arc. Further out to see the floating sea restaurant, the Barati. Inside, the place is packed with happy customers, and on the stair column wall is Luffy and Dakota's bounty posters hanging there side by side. Inside the kitchen, all the cooks scatter around cooking their own meals. Zeph finishes his plate and walks out. Zeph walks outside to look over the ocean, thinking back on his goodbye with Sanji. One Piece. Logue Town Arc. Dakota's Pav. Luffy picks up the posters from the floor. He lets out a glorious laugh, and I shake my head as the others look at the bounties he holds up. Check it out. We're wanted. Luffy laughs, and I take mine from him and see they changed the photo to one of a few weeks ago. I recognize the jacket. Wanted, dead or alive, 30 million? Usopp reads the poster. 30 million, yeah. Luffy laughs again, and I chuckle as I look over. Check it out. Even my back is famous now. Damn, I've got it going on. Usopp grins from ear to ear. What? Sanji exclaims and runs in front of the paper, looking for the long nose. They don't have my picture, yet they have long noses. Oi, where? Where? I don't see you. Usopp points over into the bottom right corner. See? Usopp points out his head. It's just the back of your head. It doesn't count. Sanji sulks as he sits on the floor. Hey now, don't be jealous. Someday you could get one too, and be famous like me, even if you aren't the captain. Usopp tells him, and he lights up. Really? He asks, his hopes lifted. Well, if you work hard. I tell him and turn my poster to face the others. They all look at my bounty in shock. 35 million how? Nami exclaims, though I'm sure I had already told them my bounty poster is on the high end. Someday you could get one too, and be famous like me. Usopp boasts, trying to play cool. Even if you aren't the captain, I add, and Sanji brightens up. Really? He asks and gets up and does the jig with Usopp as Luffy continues to laugh. Well, if you work hard, I reply as they cheer. Alright crew. We're going to the Grand Line. Luffy cheers, turning to face the boys with his arms out, and they cheer back. You guys, once again, you really don't understand the seriousness of this situation. Don't you see this means they're coming for our heads? After this, I don't think we'll be able to lounge about in East Blue anymore. Nami scolds the boys, but they aren't listening to a word she's saying as they cheer. They're not listening to you, Nami, I tell her, and she looks at me with a glare. I can't believe both you and Luffy now have bounties on your heads. Nami snaps, and I smirk at her. Well, I've had a bounty on my head since I was 11, I tell her, and her face softens, but I just shrug it off. Let's go, to the Grand Line. Let's go, go, to the Grand Line. The boys chant as they dance around the deck. One Piece. Logue Town arc. We sail on towards the next island, and I walk out of mine and Nami's room from my nap, and everyone is already out lazing around. I see a wreck sail past us, and I see a familiar face, but I can't place it and shrug it off as I walk up the steps. I pass Luffy and Usopp as they watch the shipwreck sail past us, and I look up at the sails to see that it's a marine ship. It glides right past us but suddenly turns around to sail right next to us. Are those pirates? Luffy asks, and I shake my head as I pass to the back of the ship to the others. Using a scrapped military boat? How wasteful the Marines are, Usopp comments, shaking his head. Just throwing them away as scrap. We are not scrap, the Pinkette shouts as he slams his foot on the side of his broken down ship. Are you idiots blind? How could you forget Full Body the Iron Fist? Ah, it's that old man Marine. Are you in trouble? Do you need us to save you? Luffy asks him in his usual cheerful tone that seems to anger the Marine even more. Stop kidding around. Destiny has placed you into my hands. Monkey D. Luffy and Dakota LaRue. You both are under arrest. Full Body shouts as he shows our wanted posters in one hand and points at us with the other. Cool, my picture looks good, Luffy exclaims, beaming with pride. And the back of my head looks good, too, Usopp adds in with even more pride. I shake my head at them. Dead or alive? Dead or alive? Load cannon, Full Body shouts to his men by the rusty old cannon, aiming it at us. What are they doing? Attacking us? Luffy questions. They're aiming right at us. This is not good, Usopp shrieks as his face turns green, and he backs away from the side. Alright, let me at him, I'll bounce it right back, Luffy states, but Zoro walks over, raising his sword. Luffy, I'll handle it, he tells our captain with confidence. Right. You stand back, Usopp shouts, taking Luffy away. Why? Why? Luffy protests as he shoves him to the side. Don't get involved. Hey, this way. Usopp quietens him as he moves him away, trying not to get us even more trouble. Sink them. Full Body orders his men, and they fire the cannon towards us, but mainly Zoro. He raises his sword in the air before slicing the cannonball in half. The cannonball splits down the middle, veering off the sides. Woo, awesome! Luffy exclaims, watching the parts of the cannonball splash into the ocean. No way, that's crazy. Full Body grits his teeth also in amazement along with his men. You shouldn't bug people trying to take a nap. Zoro scolds them as he places his sword away. How many shots can you stand? Fire! Full Body shouts angrily at his men. Not good, Luffy comments as the cannon readies for another strike. Not good, Usopp asks Luffy, and the cannon fires, but it blows on itself from the cracks in the barrel. See, the cannon had a crack in it. Luffy remarks as if he knows everything. Yeah, that definitely not good. Usopp agrees, and the ship knocks into ours. Listen, you brats. Do not look down on an ex-lieutenant of the Marines. We'll defeat you in close combat. Full Body screams as he jumps onto our ship, standing before Luffy and the cowering Usopp. Let's go, men, I'll have your head. He swings at Luffy, punching him in the face, but it doesn't do much as Luffy's neck stretches out onto the other side of the ship. Gum gum. Bell, Luffy shouts as his neck retracts, hitting Full Body in the face, knocking him back into the railing. His men fly back from the kicks Sanji sends. Full Body looks over and screams, "You interrupt a cook in the middle of his work. You frickin' jerk. We're not serving soup today. You wanna lick the deck?" Sanji intimidates the Marine, who lets out screams, backing away from their ship and into the water. Huh? It's over already? Luffy wonders as he dusts himself off. HMPH. He's all talk. Usopp comments bravely. That guy's still a jackass, Sanji grumbles. You guys are so noisy, can't I get some peace and quiet to read? Nami complains, bringing her newspaper down. Nami-san. Dakota my love, the food is ready, Sanji shouts, and I walk over to the kitchen. Really, I'm starved. Food. Food? 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 Luffy cheers as he runs into the kitchen, knocking me back, and I look at him shaking my head. One Piece. Logue Town Arc 3rd Pav. On an island within the Grand Line, two pirates sit on the cliffs looking out by telescope, and he spots something approaching the island. Huh? What the hell's that? The man wonders as he tries to get a better look. Huh? Let me see. The man orders, leaning against the tree. He stands up, takes the scope from the other man, and focuses on the approaching figure to see hawk eyes sailing towards them. He lets out a yelp of fright and drops the telescope to the ground, and runs down to meet the dreaded warlord. One Piece. Logue Town Arc Hawk Eyes brings his boat ashore and steps off, walking through the group of pirates as they part in fright at the sight of him and grip their weapons tightly. Hawk Eyes. What are you doing here? The man who spotted him demands. Shut up. I have no business with you. Where are your superiors? He demands, and one of the pirates breaks off, running into the jungle towards the main camp. Camping on an island such as this, he's much too casual. One Piece. Logue Town Arc the pirate runs through the jungle towards the main camp with some lazing around in the sun. The others are under a red and white striped umbrella. The man runs towards them. Boss, the man cries out and drops to his knees. A mug settles down in front of him. He snatches it up, thirsty as he tries to catch his breath, and drinks it down as the others watch behind him. Hawk Eyes. He shouts, pointing behind him, unaware of who stands behind him, and soon feels his presence. He turns around with a shriek, backing away. Yo, Hawk Eyes. Long time no see. Shanks greets him, not even looking up. I'm not feeling too good right now. You come for a match? I have no interest in challenging a one-armed man like yourself. However, I came across some interesting pirates. And it reminded me of something you told me a long time ago. A story about a small village and an amusing little kid, Hawk Eyes says, and walks towards the group before unrolling the wanted poster to reveal Luffy. Shanks' eyes widen, and the rest of the group seems stunned. No way. Lucky Roo gasps, still stuffing his face. So you've come, Luffy. Shanks grins as the sun shines down on them. Well then, Hawk Eyes. I can't let you go just like that. Hawk Eyes sits down next to Shanks and gets offered a mug. So, Hawk Eyes. Come on, drink up. Drink. Drink. Shanks encourages him, still feeling the effects of the night before. We're gonna party today. You seem to have already done so, Hawk Eyes comments, looking Shanks over. Don't mind me. This is a time to celebrate. Come on, see, mon. See, mon. Chug. 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 I like it. Party. Party. Shanks cheers and lets out a bellowing laugh. But boss, you just said you had a hangover from drinking too much, Roo complains, and Shanks brushes him off. Dumbass. Don't ruin this good pleasure, Shanks snaps at him. Don't you think it is rather early? Hawk Eyes asks him, looking down at his drink in hand. Don't worry about it. Let's get wasted. Shanks cheers, and Hawkeye's rummages around his coat's inner pocket, pulls out another wanted poster, and unrolls it, showing Dakota's photo. Shanks spits out his drink, looking at the image of his grown-up daughter. She was with him, Hawkeye informs him, and Shanks takes her poster in his hands. She's grown up rather strong. She wanted me to tell you some things. She has cut her precious hair, he says, and Shanks' eyes darken, but Hawkeye continues. And she's gotten married. Shanks looks at him, and he seems lost. The others all look the same in fear of Dakota having grown up so much in their absence. I hate to lie to you, but she told me that it was only a joke to see how upset you all would get. They all shake their heads in relief and happiness and cheer. We don't want our princess marrying some fool. Usopp comments, and the others cheer. She said to tell you she loves you all even more than her father, Hawkeye says, and the others all laugh. But Shanks sulks, not feeling in the mood to celebrate. She has her mother's spirit. She is with the boy. Shanks looks up at his friend and nods. Let's celebrate my darling daughter, our little devil, Shanks exclaims, and the crew all cheer happily. One Piece. Logue Town Arc Dakota's Pav. We sit around Nami as she places the map she took from Buggy back before I joined them. We're getting very close to the Grand Line. The only way to get there is to go through Reverse Mountain. Nami informs us and points on the map to the unique mountain. That's a pain in the ass. Can't we just go straight there, from the sea? Zoro asks from his place. Nope. According to the old man's stories, it's the only way to get into the Grand Line. Sanji announces, and I look at him as do the others. Why's that? Usopp asks. It's extremely dangerous, I state, as I have taken it many times with my father and alone. That's why I asked. Why? Usopp presses further. I don't know any more than that, Sanji snaps. The reason is, Nami and I start, but Luffy cuts us off. Okay, I got it. Let's go head on through the front, Luffy exclaims in glee. Are you even listening to me? Nami snaps at our captain. Because won't it be more interesting? It'll definitely be more exciting that way, Luffy beams. Arg, trying to explain things to you is driving me insane. Nami groans in frustration. But what's most important is, we should stop at an island and buy some meat. Meat, Luffy yells, and Nami points to our next island. On this island, there is a famous city. Logia Town. Nami says, and Luffy looks at her in confusion. Logia Town? Are they famous for their meat? Luffy asks, and I shake my head at his idiocy. It's also called, the town of the beginning and the end. Or so I've heard, Zoro interjects, and I nod my head. It's the place where the Pirate King, Gold D. Roger, was born. And also the place where he was executed. I add in and look at Luffy to see the determination burning in his eyes. The city where the Pirate King died, Luffy mumbles with a longing look in his eyes. Wanna go? Nami asks him. Yeah, I want to see it. The man who owned One Piece. The man who had everything in the world. The place where he was born and died. Luffy announces, and I nod with a grin. One Piece. Logue Town Arc. The sun isn't even up, and I am already with the rest of the crew. I push with Luffy to bring the anchor up. Raise anchor. Full sail. Luffy shouts in my ear as we bring the anchor up for Zoro to bring up. We're good to sail. Full speed ahead to the Grand Line. Sanji. Food? Food? Luffy continues to shout as we walk out, and everyone finishes their duties. Alright. Wait until I make it all ready, Sanji calls out, and I walk back into our room, but I feel my stomach rumble as changing clothes can wait. I walk in my lavender and gray pajamas back out to see Luffy bugging Zoro in the corner. Ah, see, Mon Zoro, let's play tag, Luffy complains. What? Zoro questions looking over his shoulder. What? I wanna play, let's do it, Usopp encourages them as he runs over to them. Are you retarded? How old are you two? I'm gonna take my pre-breakfast nap. Zoro shrugs them off and walks off with a yawn. He's afraid he's gonna lose. Usopp goads him, and he stops. What did you say? Why? Zoro snaps back. Huh? Look how mad he's getting. Usopp continues to provoke him. What? Come back here, you son of a. Zoro growls as the two run off, and he gives chase. Oh, and name-calling now too. Whoop, Nana. Usopp taunts the swordsman as they run away. Zoro growls as he chases after the sniper. Zoro, over here, Usopp continues to taunt him as Zoro chases after him. Zoro, no fair. You have to play with me too. Luffy complains as Usopp is getting all the swordsman's attention. I am not playing, Zoro roars as he tries to catch them, and Sanji walks out of the kitchen. Nami-san, Dakota-chan, breakfast is served. Hey, you losers, time for grub? Sanji calls out, and I walk up the stairs towards the kitchen, still in my pajamas. Luffy and Usopp yell back and run towards the kitchen, leaving a disgruntled swordsman. Get your ass back here, I'm not finished with you, Zoro yells after them. He said that to me, even back then, Nami mumbles to herself. What is it, Nami-san? Sanji asks her. Oh, nothing. Oh, I'm so hungry. Nami beams as she walks past, and I walk in behind her unnoticed. Food. Food. Luffy cheers as he walks into the kitchen. One Piece. Logue Town arc. Luffy sits down at the table with Nami as I wash my hands next to Sanji and use my assassin skills to stay undetected. I really want to spook them. Looks so tasty. Luffy cheers as he digs into the food. By the way, what do you suppose happened to Buggy? Nami randomly asks. Buggy? Oh, that Buggy. Who knows, maybe he's off in the ocean somewhere. Luffy replies with his mouth full. It's hard to say, Zoro comments as he walks in with his hand around Usopp's nose, pulling him inside. When it comes to pirates, they're all different. Is that so, bastard? What's your problem? You started it, Usopp complains as he holds his nose in pain. I was a pirate hunter for a long time. I know a lot about them. Zoro remarks as Luffy steals his food. Are you just going to stand there, Usopp? Your food is disappearing. Nami-san, here's a special yogurt treat just for you and Dakota-chan. Sanji says and places them down at our seats. Luffy, you ate all of my food again, Usopp exclaims. Thank you, Sanji-kun, Nami says. Give it back, jerk, Usopp shouts at Luffy. And he tries to go for my food, and I smash my fork into his hand. He wails in pain as he retracts his hand, and everyone gasps at my sudden appearance. Dakota, they all shout, and I smile. Morning, everyone. I greet everyone, and Sanji suddenly faints on the spot with a stream of blood comes from his nose. I look around the table with Nami smirking and shaking her head. Luffy just continues to eat his food, and Usopp looks down as he eats, not even looking at me. Zoro is looking away with a blush on his cheeks. I smirk and look down to see I'm still in my PJs. Whoops. I guess I forgot to change. I tease, looking at the boys. One Piece. Logue Town arc. I walk out of mine, and Nami's room, now changed into something a little less concealing, dark gray joggers, a light gray top and a dull gray cardigan as I walk up the stairs to the rear when a scream from above comes and goes. I look up but don't see anything and shrug it off. Hey, did you just say something? Luffy asks, looking at us. Me? Nothing. Nami answers, and he looks to Usopp, who shakes his head. Then I shrug my shoulders in reply. Weird, maybe it was my imagination. Luffy shrugs it off, scratching at his head. Hey, Luffy, quit slacking off, Sanji scolds him, and I pick up a cloth and bucket to do the windows. Oh, sorry. Luffy apologizes and returns to weeping on the floor, and the rest of us keep the ship in top shape. One Piece. Logue Town arc. Finally, the cleaning is done, and we're closer to Loga Town. I sit up in the crow's nest on the watch for the night as I sleep in later than the others, and Nami needs some time to sort out her maps in our room. I snuggle into the blanket as I listen to everyone aboard. Sanji, gimme food, Luffy mumbles, still asleep. You just ate. Have some. Self-control, Sanji replies in his sleep. You guys shut the hell up. How am I supposed to get any rest? Zoro snaps at them. You freaking sleep all the time. Help out a little, will ya? Usopp complains, and I shake my head at their antics. Arguing with each other in their sleep, they're such weird guys, Nami complains, and I have to agree but can't help smiling as I watch the calm ocean around us. Well, I guess I should go to sleep too. Good night. Good night, Dakota. Nami calls out, and I watch over my friends until morning sunrises. One Piece. Logue Town arc. I walk out of the room in a fresh new change of clothes, a bright pink top and black short dungarees and black sandals, and walk up to the head of the ship where Zoro is taking a nap and Luffy waiting, looking out at the grove. Seagulls fly overhead, waking Zoro from his little nap. "Hey, I can kinda make out an island," Zoro calls out, and Luffy stretches his arms out to hold onto the railing, bringing him to sit looking out as we approach the island. "Eh, really? What island is that?" Luffy asks as we all gather around. "Didn't we go over that already?" Nami asks as we stand behind them. "Ah," he asks, turning to face us. "So that's the island where Logia town is?" Usopp questions and looks in amazement at the sight of the town. "It's a pretty big city," Sanji comments. "Yes, it is, much bigger than it looks from here," I tell them, and they look at me for a second, and I shrug them off. "They should have lots of good places to get fresh food," Sanji comments, lighting his cigarette. "I need to go to a weapon store. 3-sword style with only one sword just won't work," Zoro adds in. "Yeah, I want to check it out, too." Usopp agrees. "On that island, Gold Roger was born and also executed," Luffy mumbles under his breath. I move over with Nami leaning next to Zoro as she does next to Luffy. "Oh, so you do remember," Nami comments, looking up at our captain. "The city where the Pirate King died. A place called the Town of the Beginning and the End," Luffy says, and I smirk as we are almost there, and something in the wind is changing for the better.